So did you you seen any of the new leaks that have been coming out about upcoming stuff?
Oh, I'm so glad you led with that. Oh, so glad. So glad. I remember the last episode we actually brought this up as a small topic.
Yeah.
And I had said that, no, I'm going. Let's go ahead and save that. I'm going to save that for E3.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize exactly how big of a thing those leaks were, because I have seen that shit reported everywhere. Everywhere. All the podcasts are talking about it. I've seen Facebook lit up with it. I'm seeing shit all over the place for this. So
Yeah.
for those that don't know, for those who are underneath the rock that even I don't live under, there's an E3 conference coming up. About a month away-ish?
Yeah.
And of course, as with any E3, there are a shit ton of games that are going to be announced. Possibly some hardware, who knows? But it's usually kept under wraps, the games that are going to be released, because that kind of, there's a spoil factor there. There's a, oh shit, oh hell yeah, great excitement factor. It's kind of tainted whenever you have all the games released at one time or announced at one time. A couple days ago, I think it was it Walmart that released it or Target? Shit, I forget.
The one I was talking about last week?
Yeah.
That was Walmart.
Yeah, last week.
Walmart Canada.
Yeah, Walmart Canada put a release out, a leak, quote unquote, that had, I think it was close to 10 or 15 different games that are to be announced at E3 this year. And yeah, that's like, I had seen little snippets of it. I didn't think too much of it at first, but then when it started getting more and more rampant, I was like, no, I don't want to look. I mean, I don't really want to look. I don't know about it. But yeah, it's way too in your face now. For me anyway. I've succumbed to it. I try to fast forward some podcasts or try to get away from some stuff, but really, once I saw the first 2 or 3 games, I was like, okay, that's not really much to even talk about anyway. What else is on the list? And then I just read them all. And yeah, so as far as the list itself goes, as far as the speculated, which, I mean, it's not 100% fact anyway.
Sure.
Yet, but even that, I mean, come on. A lot of it's hearsay, a lot of it's rumors, but with so many companies trying to get out there ahead of it now, trying their best to like say, yeah, hey, here's trailers for this game coming out, or here's information about this game coming out. Some games have been pretty much made fact. Some games have not.
Yeah.
I've taken a look at the list, and I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling these games. Now it doesn't. This is not a list of games that. This is not all the games, I would assume. I mean, there's several press conferences. Microsoft has its own press conference. Sony will have its own. I think usually Ubisoft has one.
Yep.
EA has one.
Yep.
I think Squaresoft is actually having one this year for the first time in a long time.
I should have picked up the list, or pulled up the list before we started, because I was looking at it the other day, the actual times.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that it's so nice to be working from home now, because I've missed so much of E3 before because it was while I was at work.
Yeah.
So I'll be watching the entire thing.
Yeah. And I have no problem admitting, like I said, we're more than likely going to do an E3 episode. I mean, we're going to be like everybody else, folks. Every podcast out there does an E3 episode, and I think it's important to have them anyway. I would assume you'd want to know our excitement level, or what our thoughts are on things coming out. But I will tell you from my end, in my personal life, I have evolved into, not evolved, but I've my viewing of E3 is not just watch them live. I typically watch them live with a company or a group of people.
Yes.
I think 2016 I watched it with Giant Bomb, and I think 2017 I watched it with Easy Allies. So, I mean, this year we'll probably one of the two as well. I think there was an E3. I think the year before that I actually watched it with Two Best Friends. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, there are several YouTube channels out there that will actually live stream the press conference through their show or their own streaming service, and they will as well have their own reactions and stuff. So I prefer that. I like watching it and seeing everybody else's reactions while I'm watching. It's a crazy time we live in, I know. But that will be me watching it this year. I will probably be at work when some of it's happening, so I'll have to catch it afterward. But even then, I'll still watch it. I'll still watch it through somebody. All that being said, I'm about to drop some spoilers again, or we're going to talk about spoilers actually here for a minute. For those that have not seen as of this episode, just 7 years from now, this is so not going to matter. But for those that may possibly hear this episode before time, this is the 2018 E3 spoilers. You've been warned. We're going to talk about them for a minute. So you're going to hear games listed and thoughts about them starting now. So, just totally shitting on everything I said last episode, Chris. I am anyway. I read the list. I've seen the list. Now I'm going to talk about it because I am totally not feeling this list. I am hoping that this is like a fourth, if not, like a 10th of the games that are going to be announced, because if these games are true, I'm not seeing too many on here that I give a shit about. Starting from the top this is just a list that I have pulled up. I don't know if there's a specific order. Don't care if there's one, but right off the bat, one that should get my attention and my excitement is Just Cause 4. I got to tell you, Just Cause 2 is on my top 15 wall. The size of that game, the mayhem you can have, the fun, it takes the shit that I know from Grand Theft Auto, and it's expanded. I love Just Cause 2. I've never played Just Cause 1, and I own Just Cause 3, which I've played for probably a total of 3 or 4 hours and put it down because I've done all kind of shit in Just Cause 2. I have to actually pull up my Xbox 360 and see the hour count, but I've dumped a retarded amount of time in a Just Cause 2. Just Cause 3, it did a little better. I'll give you that. It had a more definitive storyline. It added better plot elements to it. The wingsuit item was pretty cool, but nothing about it. I mean, I didn't finish the game. I'd have to go back to it and give it another round to see if it appeals to me. But again, I put so much time and did so much shit and was in awe from Just Cause 2 as it was. I mean, 3 didn't really make me push forward. Just Cause 4 being announced doesn't really do it for me. I mean, there'd have to be some monumental gameplay changes or something to make me really care, jump out of my seat for Just Cause 4 being announced. What about you?
Yeah, I as far as Just Cause goes, I've played 2. I haven't finished it. I do think I own 3. Part of some sale, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly.
Probably. That's where I got mine, yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't touched it yet because I want to finish 2 up. I did spend a bit of time into it. I just haven't actually finished it.
Yeah, and that's okay because that's totally a sandbox game, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the story in that game is so laughably dumb. I mean, it's throwaway. It's severely throwaway. That game is meant to be played,
Yeah, do you recall the game Rage?
I do not, and that's actually down on this list, so we're definitely going to be getting to it, unless you wanted to jump right to it.
No, I wasn't sure if you had any order or not, but that was one that I don't know anything about the game Rage, but apparently a lot of people are stoked about there being a second one.
Yeah, this is another one where so Rage 2 was announced on this list, and this is another one where the company got out and said, "Oh yeah, let's just go ahead and throw trailers out there. Let's go ahead and announce, fuck the leak. We're gonna get out in the head of the crowd." And I am seeing Rage 2 shit everywhere, and I'm like, what the fuck is this game? I have heard no less than 3 different podcasts talk about this game, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, you're talking about this like it's fucking PUBG from back in the day or something, but I've never heard of this before. I'm seeing trailers and characters. The first trailer I watched of this, I actually stopped probably about 30, 40 seconds in. I don't care for this game. I looked at the trailer for this. I went back and tried to look at the trailer for Rage 1. Don't care for it either. I didn't care for Borderlands from the trailer. I've never played a Borderlands. There is something about this game that feels very, I don't know, like try hard to me. I'm trying to be as politely blunt as I can. The whole, hey, we are a post-apocalyptic, but we are wacky, crazy, wild, tongue out, face paint, middle fingers up. We are punk, but we are post-apocalyptic. It does not appeal to me. I got my fill of that from the original Mad Max movies, and I definitely got my fill of that from the new Mad Max movie. Playing it, just nothing about that aesthetic appeals to me. I don't see that and go, oh, fuck yeah, I also want to stick my tongues out and flip the bird and grab a rocket launcher and go crazy wacky. Like it. I'm sorry, nothing about any of those games appeal to me. I kind of got that same vibe watching Rage, and I definitely got that vibe watching the Rage 2 trailer. So, yeah. Sorry, not interested. Hopefully it'll be great. Hopefully people, and I'm glad that the fans of Rage are getting a sequel and they're getting something they want, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah, I've played Borderlands 1 and 2, I believe. I think I might have started 2 just to see how it was different from 1, but I don't recall actually beating 1. But it was a fun little game to play. It just, I didn't really have any issues with it. I just didn't have the ability. It didn't suck me in and keep me there. It was one of those, okay, this is fun to play. All right, I'll move on to something else and come back to this sometime. Yeah. So I could take it or leave it. I know it's big for a lot of people, so that's cool.
Yep. Another game on this list, the only one that I'm really kind of sort of interested in was Splinter Cell. No subtitle to this, so possibly a remaster of the original. Maybe it's just a brand new one. Maybe it's they're Tomb Raidering it up. Who knows? I like Splinter Cell, the very first one. That was actually one of the first games I had on my original Xbox. Playing it in the desert on my first military deployment. Did everything I could in that game because I didn't really have much else, many other games over there. But again, it's not something that blew my mind. Seeing this announced, it should be. I'll wait for the trailer. I'll wait for the announcement and see what it looks like. And again, if they're doing something like a Tomb Raider or like God of War, like remaster, remake kind of thing, cool. Maybe it'll be good. But this was not like a 9 out of 10 release announced for me.
Yeah, if it's a sort of reboot, then maybe I'll take a look at it. I've just never overall been interested in the series. There was some sort of Splinter Cell Game Boy Advance game or some other handheld. And
probably
I played it a little bit and I was like, okay, it's a handheld game, so it's only, certain expectations. Yeah. But it's never been one of those series I get into.
And I think I actually have now all of the Splinter Cell games that I can get for Steam. I think I've played Pandora Tomorrow for maybe half an hour or so way back in the day. I never played the one after that, and I have played Conviction. Conviction has some pretty cool set pieces in it. No lie, no joke. But all in all, in general, when I saw this announced in the list, I was like, okay, cool. We'll see. Yeah. Dragon Quest II, PlayStation 4, Xbox Online, I guess. Sure, Dragon Quest is good. Don't know what the Dragon Quest II thing's about because they're on Dragon Quest, 9, 10, 11 by now. So, I don't know. Again, nothing I really cared about. Mm-hmm. Lego DC Villains. I only have played one Lego game. I know they're all good. They're all charming. Mm-hmm. I totally have mad respect for that entire Lego franchise, but seeing more Lego DC Villains was like just in one ear and out the other. Yeah,
I'll be getting that one. I've played every Lego game from Batman 2 up to Jurassic World. I don't have. I have everything in between, and I've 100% several of them. If I've played it, I've 100% it except for the Marvel superheroes or something. I've talked about it before. The reason I stopped going for 100% at the time was the controls for vehicles were terrible.
Wow.
And you have to beat these races to 100%.
Yeah.
There was no way I was beating the races at the time. So
I have on my Steam account right now Lego Marvel Superheroes.
That's the one.
Right. I've played it for a couple hours. Again, I totally see how you can get into this. It's definitely a collectathon at heart. It's got a lot of go around and grab shit. It's fucking basic. I didn't expect, I'm not expecting fucking Bloodborne out of Lego games. Come on. The combat's very basic, but it has that pseudo platforming collectathon vibe that I totally dig.
And it's good for the kids too.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a fucking shoe-in for teaching kids games too, But again, saw this on the list and went, okay, what's next on the list? Borderlands 3. Already said all my piece on Borderlands, so seeing a third Borderlands didn't do anything for me. We already talked about Rage 2. Then I saw Gears of War 5. I have a very I have a very solid relationship with the Gears of War franchise, and it is only to the original trilogy. I played through all 3 God of Wars. There are lots of fond memories I have with Gears of War. Sorry, yeah, Gears of War. Awesome fucking well, actually, on the spot, Chris. You are, man, you're good. I've played Gears of War solo and with a friend. We've co-opted the entire trilogy together. Had a good time with these games. I get people hate these games so bad, and I don't know why. I feel like Gears of War gets a fucking like Nickelback treatment. Like people actually like it, but they want to talk shit because it seems to be cool to talk down about cool shit. Yes, they're a bunch of fucking roided up guys in suits with big chainsaw guns, and they kill things. That's the point of the fucking game. Again, I don't know what you're expecting when you saw this, even from a trailer, but I got that from the trailer, and I thought it was fun and cool, and if you don't, that's cool. But anyway, I like the trilogy. There's a 4, there's a Judgment, there's other games in the Gears of War series I have not played. So I'm kind of lost about Gears of War 5. I don't know where they are in their story. I don't know what's going on, who's involved. I've heard some mixed reviews about the last Gears of War because they felt like one of the main characters, Marcus, was just kind of shoehorned in for fan service or shoehorned in and didn't need to be there. So I won't even be playing Gears of War 5 when it comes out. I've got other Gears of War games to play before I get to that, and I don't really have an inclination to. Again, I played the trilogy. I got what I wanted from the trilogy. When it was done, I was like, well, that's cool. They wrapped it up. Cool beans. Moving on with life.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I've never played a single one.
They are arcadey action bro games. I'll give you that. I mean, they have their charm. They have their appeal. They have difficulty spikes if you find them too easy. They've got some funny and cool moments in them, especially the first game. But, again, Gears of War 5 is coming out. Means not a whole lot to me. Forza Horizons 5. I've never played a single Forza Horizon game. I know that these games are beautiful. They are gorgeous. And I'm sure the racing market out there is just clamoring for this game to come out. I'm not. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I see the Forza games as basically just being eye candy.
Yeah, that's really all I see too. And last one on the list is Assassin's Creed. And again, I was only looking at a list. I didn't see screenshots for any of this shit. So I'm assuming it's a remake, or it could be another installment in the series. Who knows? But I've had a very off and on relationship with the Assassin's Creed saga to begin with. Assassin's Creed 2 was great. Black Flag was fucking awesome. And other than that, I don't really care. So again, me seeing Assassin's Creed released didn't do much for me. And that's it. That's the games that were leaked. So when I'm looking at this list as a whole, I'm very fucking ho-hum about the E3. However, I have to keep in mind, I'm hoping it's got to be, Chris. This is like half of what one conference will announce, if that. So
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that there are way more games, and maybe these are just the mediocre ones. Maybe these are just the ho-hum ones.
I think
There's also go ahead.
I think your list may just be the ones that hadn't had anything heard about them before.
Yeah.
Because the actual screenshot, shows things like Final Fantasy VII Remake. Well, we've known about that for a long time.
Yeah. And Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
I forget the other ones.
There's one called Destiny Comet, which who knows what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Assumption was that's a DLC, but on the screenshot it's $80, which doesn't make sense unless it's the package as everything. But it just seems odd. Let's see. There was another one I was going to mention. 2K19 for WWE. Everybody knows that's going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
NBA 2K19. The Division 2. I don't know how much about that's been mentioned in the past, but I think that's a fairly fresh topic.
Yeah. And I haven't played the first one, so this will be another one that's meh.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in it. I still put a little bit of time in it. There are just gameplay things that I just didn't like. The overall game the premise of the game I like. The story I like. It just had those, gameplay issues that couldn't keep me hooked. It got into that, grind fest type of mentality. You get with games like this where you're literally trying to get gear drops to level, or to get, better. Because there's no, if I'm not mistaken, there is a leveling system, but it doesn't mean garbage. It's just determining what you can equip type level system.
Mm-hmm,
so it's, a by proxy leveling system. So you're still relying on drops, a lot like Destiny is, but not as appealing for me.
Yeah. So yeah, just all in all, looking at the list, I'm just very ho-hum about all these games, very ho-hum about the announcement and the leaks. I'm still going to watch E3, and I'm still going to have things to say about them, and especially if there are other games that actually draw my interest and I have things to say about. But just going off this list, meh.
Yeah, have you heard the Nintendo leaks that are fairly fresh?
That
today?
One I have not.
Okay. I think most of it was stuff we're expecting, coming out on the Switch. The big piece from that, and the one I think has the most support behind the leaks, the rumors, multiple sources and whatnot, is the Pokemon that's supposed to be coming to the Switch. Apparently, it's supposedly a remake of Pokemon Yellow, which for those that don't know is the third game in the series. Well, I say third game, but essentially it was Red, Blue, and Yellow. They're all Gen 1.
Right.
But Yellow was released a little bit afterwards. The big thing about Yellow was Pikachu followed behind you. Now, based on what I was listening to earlier, the Switch Pokemon game is going to actually be 2 games, going with the trend, they've been doing since the start, Red, Blue, Sun, Moon, now, etc.
Yeah.
It's going to be Pikachu and Eevee. So it sounds like they're going to do the Pokemon Yellow thing with Pikachu, but also the other version's going to be with Eevee. So that sounds pretty cool. It's a little disappointing that it's not a true new game in the series. But, any Pokemon game on the Switch is going to be a hit. Where it gets a little unknown is apparently it's going to have some sort of connection to Pokemon Go. And they're going to take... There's 2 parts of this. First is that it's going to actually take some sort of mechanic from it. Might be when you throw your Pokeballs, instead of just clicking on Pokeball, it throws it out and you catch it or you don't. You'll actually get the throwing the ball animation from the mobile game, Pokemon Go, where you actually have to throw and aim the ball, and there's this little circle, and depending on if you hit in the circle, it increases your chance of catching it. So that might be implemented, it sounds like. But I'm not entirely sure. The other part of the Pokemon Go linking is that if you're playing both the Switch Pokemon game and Pokemon Go, you have accounts on each, or your accounts on both, or whatever you want to call it, there's some benefit. Don't know what that is. You may get items or something that are rewards or something. I don't know. That's what that's what I was hearing about it this morning.
Cool. By the way, hello everyone, and welcome to the end of time. I'm Michael.
I'm Chris.
I guess E3 will have to show us something. I mean, like I said, I'm still gonna watch it. Nothing about this made me go, man, I'm not gonna. Come on, I'm still gonna watch it. It just now is just a matter of who I'm gonna watch it through this year.
Yeah.
I would prefer to do it through Two Best Friends if they're doing a live stream. But of course, again, like I said earlier, I'm going to have to watch it. Some days I have to watch it after work and etc. And we'll have an E3 episode up sometime soon after. And you'll have all our E3 thoughts from 2018. Chris, it has definitely been a week.
Yep.
And I know damn well we got some good shit to talk about today. Oh, yeah. So we've went through. Is there any other news things you can think of?
Yeah, I actually have two other news things.
All right. Before we do news, did we have any other well actuals from last week? I don't think we did.
No.
Another perfect episode in the books, folks. Bam, you're welcome. Go ahead, Chris.
All right. One thing I saw from Microsoft today, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a Xbox controller for accessibility.
What?
Yeah, so basically it is this just a little thin, I don't even know what to call it. I don't want to call it a box because that, implies a certain size, but it's this little platform type thing.
Yeah, I saw a picture of this in my Facebook feed, and I was like, sure, and moved on. Yeah,
so I didn't look into it too much, but what little I looked into it is that it has multiple ports, so you can basically plug in multiple devices to get these, basically get the buttons where you need them. So if someone has a disability, they can have, a thing with 3 buttons in their left hand, completely separate from everything else that they're using for those. If they have something that, prevents them from having the full range of motion, having their hands together on a controller, etc., whatever it may be. And this is awesome.
Now that I actually see this and know what this is, now I wish I hadn't skipped over this. That's very fucking cool, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Man, taking care of gamers, no matter who or what they are or what issues they have, catering to gamers is fucking cool. Thank you, Microsoft. Good on you.
Yep.
I'm seeing all these random pictures of all these peripherals hooked up and different controls that people have augmented, and they just hook it up to this and it gets you what you want. Man, I fucking love that. Cool means. So if anybody hasn't seen this, you can literally just type up Xbox accessibility controller and just scroll through the images. It shows you what you need.
Yeah, and one of the best parts about it is this is official. This isn't, a third party thing, because I'm sure those exist. I'd be very surprised if they didn't. But this is actually straight up Microsoft. That's
fucking cool, man.
The other thing I wanted to mention is State of Decay 2 technically the release date is the 22nd, but if you pre-order it, you get access tonight at midnight, which is Thursday, the 17th. Unlocks, 0000 on the 18th. But it being announced, that's nothing new. We've known about that. What I did not know until I went to the Xbox store earlier to actually buy it so I could play it soon, is that the base game is only $29.99.
Wow.
This is a $30 game. And the, basically the Ultimate Edition that has a Season Pass or whatever it is, 2 DLCs, I don't know if it's actually Season Pass or if it's just these other things, is $50. That's that I have mixed feelings about this. I love the price point. It is amazing to see a game of this size to be only $30. But on the flip side, I get that little bit of concern going, okay, if it's only $30, what does that say about the content?
Yeah. But you know what they say, Chris, don't judge a game by its content. Wait, yeah, you do. I guess time will tell. I didn't play the first State of Decay, so
Yeah, neither.
I have no input.
I'm jumping straight into the 2. I watched Achievement Hunter got it early, of course, and did a small, 20-minute multiplayer thing. And It looks interesting. It looks like a nice little game to play. I know you're tired of zombies, but it is what it is. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, with news out of the way then, don't think I have anything newsworthy. I guess I'm going to roll into my week and get mine out of the way. I'm going to try to be brief. I'm going to try to be brief, again, because of our monumental topic that's coming up this episode. So I'm still in my little turmoil phase. I'm kind of settling down on playing several games. I have so one of the games that I was playing and was working on for a bit was 3D Dot Game Heroes. I heard about this game years ago. It's a PlayStation 3 title. Having played it, it's essentially it's supposed to be like a love letter to old 8-bit style games, old 16 style games, where they basically 3Dize the 2-bit graphic style. And they poke a lot of fun at old RPGs and old adventure games, mainly at Zelda, mainly at Dragon Warrior, stuff like that. I've made it probably, I want to say 4 bosses in. Whatever boss is the dragon boss in the fire area. And I have stopped playing this game.
Okay.
Frustration has set in, and it could be me. Maybe it's something I'm doing. I really don't think so. The shit that has killed it for me, and I experienced this a lot in the last boss I fought as well. I can't remember what that boss was, but the boss you fight before the dragon one had almost the same issue. These bosses take way, 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 way too many fucking hits to kill. I'm talking in the 70, 80 strikes to kill them area. That's fucking ridiculous. I have so you can actually upgrade your weapon. You can get several other weapons throughout the game that have varying stats. Your weapon actually has stats, has length, width, your strike damage, your piercing damage, all kind of stuff like that. You can make a sword that basically spans half the screen. It's pretty cool. But I've upgraded the potential for my base weapon pretty high. I've got several stars of damage on this, so I saw the progression as I upgraded this weapon throughout the game, and that was satisfying. I would find a relatively strong enemy. It would take 8 hits to kill. I understand that, no problem. I upgraded it. It went down to 6 or 5. Upgraded again. It went down to 2, 3 or 2, and I thought that was nice. I'm I love seeing the progression in any game. I love that. And then I got to these bosses, and it's hit after hit after hit after hit. Oh, it was the octopus boss. Sorry for those that do know this game. The octopus boss was also aggravating because you had the floor was broken up with water, and you had to navigate across the water via a hook shot. And the octopus would pop up at different areas of the room, and you had to hook shot and hook shot and hook shot, and then you hit it. You get to hit one time, and it goes underwater. It's like fucking whack-a-mole. And it was fucking 60, 70 something hits for that thing to die. That's fucking ridiculous. If me explaining it to you or the audience, if it doesn't sound ridiculous, when you actually play the game and you get the fluid feel of the game, you will understand that it is above and beyond. It's just too much.
No.
Even the mid to hardcore enemies in this game, in the outer stretches of this areas of this game, with my sword right now only take 1 to 2 shots to kill, And when I get to a boss and I'm hitting him over and over and over and over and over, the last time that I fought this boss, I said, okay, fuck it. You know, if it's just me, if I'm just fucking up, I'm going to go old school. I'm going to go out of town. I have 4 bottles. I'm going to fill all 4 bottles up with health potions, which, by the way, my lifespan right now is like 12 hearts. I'm going to fill all these bottles up with health potions, and I'll just fucking baby mode in this boss. I go in, I hit him, I'm hitting him a shit ton of times. He eventually whittles me down to 3 hearts. I pop a potion, back up to max. I keep hitting him several more times. He whittles me down again. I pop another one. I popped all 4 of these. This fucker still killed me. I'm talking between every single time of me using this potion, I had to have had like 30, 40 something hits in a piece. And he still went down. Nothing about this game is designed that way. The bosses just are that way. I've even swapped to a different weapon that had like 4 or 5 more stars in it, and that didn't fix the problem either. So I got completely frustrated and said, "Fuck this," and it put that game down.
So, a couple of questions for you. First, you mentioned the enemies in the out areas being not even that strong. Or is this possibly a boss? Or are these bosses you shouldn't be fighting yet? Do you think?
No, they go in. It's linear. Think Zelda, like Link to the Past. It's linear. Like, okay, you beat this temple, go to the next temple.
Sure.
So I'm in line. Okay. I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I think all in total there are only 6 bosses. Period, 6 or 7. I want to say 6. And if that's the case, I'm on boss 4. Like I just beat boss 3, and boss 3 as well took 20, 25 retries. I seriously questioned the design of the bosses of that game. There's nothing in that game that progressed me up to this point that made me feel like, okay, this is the way it should be. No, there's hard bosses, and there's Yazmat from fucking Final Fantasy 12, 3.5 hour boss fight. What the fuck bosses? That's what these feel like. So I've put that game down. I did pick up Mighty Number 9 again for all of 15 minutes. I made it through a boss. I made it through the first boss level that I found, the boss order.
Yeah.
I did not like the level design. It's not original Mega Man frustrating difficult. It's more like kind of bad design difficult. And I said, yeah, I'm still not feeling this. So I put that away. And that's okay, because I'm not expecting that game is just a test game for me.
Yeah.
I went on Steam. I'm still playing through Mega Man Legends 2, specifically Mega Man 9. I have made it through 4 bosses so far, and progressing through the fifth level. I think it's I don't have these bosses memorized yet. I want to say it's Tornado Man. I forget, the Wind Man, one of those. Either way, I'm making it through his level, and I'm picking up and putting this game down as I choose. I play it for a little while. I either beat a level or I get frustrated and put it down. No big deal, no big progression. So for a hot minute, I picked up God of War again.
Okay.
That itch finally took hold, and I said, all right, fuck it. Let's roll into it. Let's fucking do it. I put it on and Give Me God of War. I said, sure, why not? Let's do this shit. I played that game for probably a solid hour on Give Me God of War, and I said, no. No, thank you. I remember you saying some things about you playing through the game, and you felt that you felt that the game kind of got soured for you at certain points because of the extreme difficulty. Mm-hmm. I can tell you from playing that little bitch baby basic bit that I played, I completely agree with you. If you play that game on the ultimate difficulty, that's good for you, guy, that you got that fucking trophy, but that fucking soiled the experience for me. Mm-hmm. Number one, your health gets ticked down incredibly fast. I mean, it's the basic stuff that goes along with having an ultimate difficulty.
Yeah.
You take damage like hella easy. enemies take god-awful amounts of damage to kill. They do have some more tactics, I'll give you that. Some more things to pay attention to. I get all that. But even the first 4 sets of battles that I went through and eventually beat, all whittled down to button mashing, prompts, same combos, same movements, repetition, cheap shots for deaths, and I ended up going past them and move on to the next section. And I was going piece by piece that when the story parts come up, they were a blur. It was, let me get to the next part, and then it was stuck on the next, enemies, basic enemies area for 15, 20, 25 minutes, memorizing patterns, using the same combos, again, trying other combos, realizing the first combo worked better, repetition, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and moved on. I said, fuck no. Could I do it? Yes. But this is work. Like, it's repetition work for me to do that. And that's 100% not what I play God of War for. That's not what I wanted from that game. So I dropped it back down to the normal difficulty. I may jump it up. I don't know. We'll see. And now I'm slowly trudging through this game and just fucking retaking in this game. Even from the start of this game, it is so fucking beautiful. It is so awesome to just pan the camera around and just look at shit. I didn't forget. It's just more I'm getting it reaffirmed again. How much detail was put into this game, into character models, into environments, into weapon designs, armor designs, weather effects, fucking everything. But I've also stopped playing that as well. Not stopped permanently. I just haven't been going back to that as much as I have other games. I picked up Katamari Damacy for the PlayStation 4. I didn't pick it up. I put that in and played a few levels. Katamari is such a fucking go-to game for me. Katamari is if you have nothing else to play and you want to immediately go into a game and go, oh, fuck yeah, Katamari does it. I plowed through like 9 levels of Katamari forever on the PlayStation 4. So I did that. And then I started playing Odin's Sphere Leifsfarander. I haven't got the subtitle down yet. It's basically the PS4 facelift of the Odin Sphere for PlayStation 2. The graphics are better. It seems like there are a lot of gameplay choices they've made, a lot of quality of life choices to make the progression in that game easier. I've only been through the first gigantic map entirely. I beat the first boss. I really want to go through this because this is another game that I made way too far in and stopped playing, not because I didn't like it, but some other game or games like took over. I can't remember what they were because, again, this is PlayStation 2 era. But I need to go back through Odin Sphere completely and just finish that game. There's 5 playable characters, I believe. They all 5 have their own individual stories, and all those stories intertwine with each other and tell one large story, on top of the combat being good, on top of the progression being good. So we'll see how that rolls out. I'm pretty sure I played something else as well. I just can't think of what it is. Again, I'm still in that kind of turmoil. Well, I haven't actually really 100% settled down on one game, but I've found that in these times I'm playing multiple games at one time, so this is nothing really new for me. Oh, Sonic Mania, duh. I'm still playing through Sonic Mania as well. I finally beat the entire campaign, and I'm now going back and farming all of the Chaos Emeralds. I'm basically trying to go back and get everything unlocked.
Sure.
I want to say for anybody that happens to be on my Facebook page or just in general, I have given that game a 4.0. 4 out of 5, and I will say if I could give like a side review, I would give the creator of that game a fucking 5 out of 5 because that man has put so much heart and love and passion into that game. He captures the Sonic, the air of Sonic. He captures what Sonic was supposed to be. It not only has the challenge, it not only has the speedster shit, it has the co-op player, it has everything. If you want to know what a good, updated, awesome Sega Sonic the Hedgehog video game is, and what really most of them all should be, play Sonic Mania.
Yeah.
That will give you a fucking awesome representation of Sonic. Lots of levels, lots of good music, lots of good remixes, good level design. I mean, my only hang-ups are some of the bosses were annoying, and some of the level design still falls back to that, okay, run 90 miles an hour, stop, do these very slow plotting things. But again, that's not a detraction from this game. This game is definitely I would especially say for fans of the Sega franchise, for fans that are still around of the Sonic franchise, this is a fucking must-play game. This is a tribute game. So,
agreed.
Been playing through that, still playing through that one. And I really think that one was it. I don't think I've seen any other movies, no TV shows. The wife and I will be seeing Deadpool 2 this weekend, so I've been trying to stay away. There's a shit ton of Deadpool 2 trailers out, a shit ton. I've seen some promos here and there. I saw where he went on the Conan O'Brien. Good God, there's so many of these guys. There's Conan O'Brien, there's Jimmy Fallon.
Mm-hmm.
Who's another
Stephen Colbert.
Steve Colbert. Yes, he went on the Steve Colbert talk show, and it was pretty hilarious because they kept interrupting each other, and Stephen Colbert said something, and he was like, "Yeah, whatever, Jimmy." And I was like, "Oh, they poke fun at each other." So.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll be seeing that this weekend, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
I swear there are a couple things that I wanted to talk about, but I've forgotten them. Oh well, I guess that's my week. If I remember them, fuck it, I'll bring them up later. Chris, how has your week been aside from the topic, of course?
Sure. So our D&D session was interesting this week.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did a roughly 40 minute session one-on-one with a bard beforehand, because I didn't want it to drag down, the whole night, because I knew that would take a while.
Right.
His little family reunion he had, and it didn't go, as usual, it didn't go anything like I planned. Just when I think I'm getting the bard down and I can anticipate him, he changes it up. So the overall, what I wanted to happen happened, but the conversation he had with his father went much different than I was expecting. A lot better, though. It was different, but it was better. I really liked what it did. The main session, once everybody got on, everybody met back up, went and met the bard's father, and are now, trying to take care of an issue for him. There was some scouting happening. You had a little interesting dream.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
I was anxious as fuck whenever you pointed me out.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, in your sleep, and I was like, oh, here we go. Because per my bio, when this shit happens, if shit goes weird in my nighttime, in my dreams or my sleep, I'm usually getting called to the hunt. And I'm usually like, oh, well, I'm in a whole new area, and I'm about to go fight some shit and come home. And when it was the dream, I was like, okay, well, I've had dreams too, so it's probably calling or something, like something about this is important. As the whole progression was going, I was like, what's going on? I really want to know what's going on. What is this? What's the dream telling me? So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Definitely interesting.
Yeah, it was fun to write. I actually completely rewrote that the day before.
Oh, wow.
I had a completely different scene going on. I may still use parts of what I had written, so I won't go into detail what I did, but I just felt it wasn't enough. So I rewrote it essentially from scratch. The only thing that's the same was it was a dream.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so now you've got your upgraded amulet, a new ability.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so that's where the extra ability came from.
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering because I was like, I've looked in my class notes, I've looked in my job notes, like I shouldn't have this.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I guess I wasn't clear enough because that was the whispered word that you were left with. Ignis. Fire.
Yeah, I put 2 and 2 together. Yeah. It's just I didn't think of it that way. I thought what I thought was, remember the first time I made my character, you came behind me and you said, "Oh, by the way, you've got this and you can change this, don't forget." Yeah. I tried to make this character. I tried to do all my homework for this upgrade to where you didn't where you'd be like, "Oh, he got everything." So when you said that, "Oh, by the way, you get this ability," I was like, "Well, fuck, what did I miss this time?" Like I had it all. But yeah, I had a nightmare and they upgraded my amulet and I got a new ability and cool.
Yep. You've progressed to the next stage of your training.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see where that takes you. It was another session. I think this is our third one in a row with no combat.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. I actually had 2 different encounters planned for this one, but we didn't get that far. And they can happen at pretty much any time, as long as it's appropriate. So we should get at least 1 encounter next session. So we'll actually get back into some combat. I know there are a couple of players who are a little bit bored when there's not combat. So we'll see. I spent a lot of time stressing over the session because I was not prepared. I mentioned it last week that was kind of where I had up to. And I'm at that point where I have, the end. I have what you've done so far, and then I have the end. I need to fill in the gaps in between.
Right.
So finding those hooks and figuring out what's going on in the city. The rogue has given me some other homework to do now to get his little side stuff squared away.
Mm-hmm. So
I've got now 2, side plots and then the main overarching story. So I've, kind of got 3 things to work on at right now, which is good. It gives me choices and options. And not necessarily railroading into some story thing. I watched Critical Role. I'm still watching it. I haven't, dropped it like I was considering yet. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the issue, because it's so good that I don't want to miss it, but, I want to have some build-up, so I'm not waiting and waiting and waiting. But this last episode, there's this huge character backstory drop. And I was like, oh man, this changes so much, at least for the characters that know, and how will this impact things, moving forward. And there was a couple story related drops that happen, and it's like, okay, stuff's about to hit the fan one way or another. Whatever the players decide, it's going to kick off.
Yeah.
So I don't want to, stop now because I'm in the middle of this.
Let me ask you something about campaign 2.
Sure.
Did you feel, now this is a disease that I have. It's the I don't like shit to change disease, which actually is kind of ironic when there are a lot of video games that change and I do like it. But in any event, one of the reasons why I have not continued on with campaign 2, while I'm essentially just going to start it over from the beginning, is that, and I'm asking this to you more so than just preaching about it, did their characters in campaign 2 they're all completely different.
Yes.
shit, I'm trying to think of his name now. Like Laura Bailey's character, she's not a ranger elf anymore.
Correct.
She's somebody completely different, and so on and so forth, all the way down the cast line. Did the severe character change throw you off at all? Like, did it make you feel odd or weird about it? Or
it did at first.
Did you just? Yeah, I felt like. And again, I've only seen the first episode, the entirety of the first episode, but only the first episode.
Yeah.
And I cannot go back in my memory and recall how I felt about the characters from Campaign 1 when they were first initial. I feel like I don't understand their new characters in Campaign 2 at the beginning anyway.
And
I feel like because they are so alien that I'm like, who are these people?
Here's my thing for that. So in Campaign 1, we were spoiled because these characters already had their stuff revealed. Well, I won't say everything, of course, but they had a past. They had this like year or two of adventuring together before we ever saw anything. And their characters were so well established at that point that there was a lot to take in. With these new characters, we're being, fed bites. It's not this big drop, this is Grog, the Goliath barbarian. He had this happen to him, and now we're continuing.
They had that too. I think the very first episode, actually, Matt starts off the first episode with the character intros. Mm-hmm. Granted, you couldn't see anything because it had it blocked off, I guess, for patron people or whatever, but Grog told you who he was and what he was about, and Keyleth and so on and so forth. These, you're just stumbling in, and they're getting introduced, and you're hearing the voices, and you're trying to get a mental image of the characters, but it's just not clicking.
And here's the thing: aside from the characters that know about each other's backstory, like know some of the characters' backstories, like Caleb and Not. They, encounter the rest of the group together because they had this small encounter beforehand. Yeah. I think they had a little bit of a background before the campaign technically started. Mm-hmm. But aside from them, nobody else knows about Caleb and Not until what is revealed in the episode. So the other players are in the same boat. They're getting this, bite introduction to these characters, and it's making for good story now. We're to the point where things are being revealed. It's one of those, the group is at that point where they're, you got to build that trust, and you got to talk to each other, and, get that relationship established. Yeah. And they're getting to that point where things are becoming revealed more and more, because they're getting to that point where we're going to be working together. What do we need to know about each other?
There's still sub 20 episodes too. So, I mean, this is still in relation to Campaign 1, still in the baby phase. Mm-hmm. Still in the baby phase.
Oh, yeah. If you consider, Campaign 1 when it started, they were 2 years in. Let's say that was, they didn't play every week before they started recording, but let's say that was 50 episodes. Then
they're in infantile stage.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's it's good though. I'll probably keep watching.
I just want to stress to you and the audience as well. Like, I have not stopped it. I have no, despite everything I just said, I'm not put off by Campaign 2. It's a combination of I just blew through the entirety of Campaign 1, kind of taking a breather, kind of chilling on it for now. And it's also the, getting introduced to Campaign 2 with all these new characters, all this new stuff. I was like, I'm just, not yet. Not yet. When will I pick up Campaign 2 and start? Who knows? I may wait until, I really don't know. I don't want to say anything. I know that I will get back into it because, as Chris and I both have said several times on this podcast so far, this crew is great. This crew is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Matt's a great DM. All these characters, they don't fucking go above and beyond. They don't blow out their characters. They're not super, cringe nerdy. They're all so fucking chill and lax and cool, and they get white hot when they need to, and they're just fucking easygoing when they're not, and just seeing all their dynamics. And as Chris has mentioned as well, these are all friends. Like, it's crazy what a world they live in, that they're all voice actors, so they all know each other, and then they all became friends, and then they all started playing D&D. Like, that, to me, that alone is such a fucking cool story, But I'll get into it as well. Campaign 2 will be around the bend sometime for me.
All right. So, other than that, I didn't think I was going to have any games when it came time to record because of the other things I've been doing. But I actually did pick up Destiny 2 again last night. Played a little bit more. The raid I had mentioned, I thought it was going to be Tuesday, but it was actually Friday of last week. So they didn't wait a whole week. The world first team, I believe it took them 7 hours to beat or something like that, the raid. Because it is a recommended light level of 280. And because there were only like 4 days, and there's only so much you can do. Once you've done the weeklies, there are very few things you can do that will actually give you gear that will level you up. Everything else has a soft cap to it. So their group was like 265. So they're a full 15 levels below cap at the launch of this raid. I know one of the other groups, they took a full like 11 hours to get through it. And these are people that have gotten world first before. And it still took them that long.
Wow.
I saw at least one comment from one of them that said that it wasn't a bad thing. It was good how long it took because it gave that I guess thrill, that build up, that, oh wow, this is really, I'm really having to try and really having to do this, and I need to be stronger, and this is really a challenge. So it wasn't a bad feeling from what I've seen. I don't quite know, how it'd rank compared to the other two that are out there so far. And speaking of the other two, I need to do some research on this and actually watch the different raids now. Because when the game came out, the first thing was the actual raid, Leviathan. Now there are two raid, I just lost what it's called. Raid layers. That's what it is. There are two raid layers. One that came out with the last DLC, one with this DLC. So I'm really curious at this point, what is the difference between a raid and a raid layer? Because if a raid layer is taking just as long, if not longer than the raid, how much different is it actually? My current assumption is that it's just being called a raid layer because it's associated with the same location still. And it's not like a, different planet. It's not like a different world, whatever. Like the original Destiny raids, they all kind of took place as part of different stories. Whereas this is part of one big story, arc. These are kind of like mini arcs in the middle of it.
Right.
So I don't know. It's interesting. I'll probably I don't know if I'll get time this week. I might. To go and actually watch videos, watch people go through the raids and see what they consist of. And then I'll decide if I'm actually going to do them. I only logged in long enough to do most of the weeklies. Did the Crucible one, which was painful. So I had read it in a patch note, but completely forgot about it when I started playing. That on the harder or the competitive PvP mode, they have taken away motion sensors, the radar. So it is way harder now. Because before it was just different game modes. The competitive consisted of basically no respawn. Other players could revive you X number of times, or just straight up no revives or whatever the mode is. Basically, the Seek and Destroy and something else. But without radar, it was super hard. And I didn't get on a good team anyway. The one try I did of that, we went 0-5 on rounds, or 0-6 on rounds. So we immediately lost that. And that was painful. I think I had like 2 kills the whole time
Wow.
out of all the rounds. It was brutal. I felt so bad. But and there's this whole new meta with weapons that I don't know about because I haven't been paying attention to the game. So I run out, with my weapons that I've done fairly well with before, and I die in like a second. It's like, that wasn't a heavy weapon, that one shots. Why am I dying so quick?
Yeah.
So it was very brutal overall with the PvP. That was in both modes, getting killed very quick. But I spent the rest of the time in the what they call quick play, which is the more casual PvP, which I think a lot more people are playing now, actually, with the radar changes. Because when I queued up, it used to be when I queued up for quick play, it took a while to get a match, but competitive was very quick. Now it's the other way around. I actually get a game very quick in the casual mode and not so quick in competitive. I won't be able to make a final determination until I actually find out more about the raid, or the raids, I should say, at this point. But I'm still in that overall, okay, I guess I'll log in for one night a week, play a little bit, and then I've essentially done everything I need to do until the next Tuesday.
I live vicariously through Destiny 2 stuff right now. Point of fact, the Easy Allies podcast, not their podcast, but one of their podcasts they host, Frame Trap, episode 55. The first game they talk about, like 4 minutes in, is Destiny 2. And Huber made a quote that I wonder how the audience and you yourself think about this. He said, "Man, Destiny 2 got old overnight." I was like, "Damn, I could see that. I can see that. I've pretty much got that echoed sentiment from a lot of people, that it's kind of got that MMO mentality, that you get in, you get the new content. Yeah, it's fun. It's cool. Okay, I've now ran this dungeon 20 times. I'm kind of tired of seeing it. Okay, I'll just check back in 4 months."
Yeah, I think, and I do want to be clear that I think the game as a whole is solid, and I think they made a lot of improvements over Destiny 1 when they did it. But it wasn't enough to feel entirely different, if that makes sense. So up to that point, players like myself, we'd been grinding for, I think it was technically 3 years of Destiny 1. We've been grinding in it and playing it, and I played it almost nonstop for like a year and a half. Playing every single week, even after completing weeklies, before weeklies were a thing. And I enjoyed it, but, that tapered off over time. I stopped having as much to do. I hit max light levels, and then I was done. There's nothing to do once you hit max light levels except for farm weapons, and I wasn't anywhere near that level of crazy.
Right.
So, and now they've actually taken out the grinding of weapons. So even for those that do that, there's not really as much of a reason. They did add in those masterwork weapons, which are kind of a replacement, sort of, where you can, a drop will randomly be masterwork and give you some kind of bonus to it.
Okay.
Like, I had a shotgun that was masterwork, and it could shoot farther, or had a wider spread or something like that. I had a hand cannon that was masterwork, and I think it gave me more ammo in the clip. Minor things like that, but I don't know, still not enough for me to really care. And the worst part is, when I get one of those, I feel like I need to hoard it because it's masterwork. But you also, if you can re-roll these bonuses too. So if you want to re-roll a bonus, you have to break down other masterwork weapons.
Okay.
So you have to give them up if you to get those items. But even if I don't use a particular weapon, I feel like I need to keep it because it's masterwork. But I ended up breaking down 2 of mine. I think I have 1 left, and I've barely used it. I think I'm currently using the shotgun just because it was highest level. And I want to infuse it in my shotgun I prefer because it's an automatic shotgun, which is pretty awesome on bosses. But at the same time, I don't want to infuse it because if I infuse it, I don't get those materials for breaking it down for masterwork.
Right.
It's just straight consumed. So it's added a little bit of unnecessary stress, decision making, whatever, how you want to put it, to the weapon gathering process, which is already bad enough with hoarding and stuff. My God, I actually had to go into, there's an app you can use called DIM. It's Destiny Item Manager, and it has a feature where you type in and go, okay, show me duplicates. I was like, all right, I need to get rid of some of these duplicates because I need shards. But I had duplicates of weapons because I, could use them on more than one character, or I just never got around to sorting through them. And there's never enough inventory space on Destiny at all. They keep adding it, and then we're like, yay, okay, need more.
Yeah.
That eternal struggle. I think that's about it for Destiny 2. I enjoy the game at this point more in PvE than PvP. But I've done everything I can, well, not everything I care to do at the moment.
Yeah, that's always fine to say, man. If you feel you've gotten what you want out of it, doesn't matter if there's more shit or not,
That's it for me for the week, other than the obvious.
Well, there was another movie I thought you said you saw as well.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So Saturday I was supposed to see something different, but instead I saw Black Panther, which I was really glad I did, because I misunderstood what Black Panther was about. I thought Black Panther was a prequel type thing. I thought it was a past thing.
Yeah. But
it wasn't.
It happened right after.
It literally carried on right after the previous movie, which was Civil War.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
because that was his introduction to the MCU.
Yeah. I was really glad I watched it. Really good movie. I'm trying to think if I had any issues with it. I don't think I did. Oh, there was a sequence of events that I thought were unnecessary for the movie. They literally only happened so one character would be in one spot. And that was the way they chose to do it, was, the first however much of the movie was completely unnecessary. Let's see. Trying to think of anything non-spoiler related to talk about it before getting into spoilers. I think that's it. I mean,
you can give your review of it, like any kind of, like where do you place it? Did you like it? Like,
yeah, I absolutely liked it. I had, aside from that one minor issue with I think an entirely unnecessary part, or I think I won't say unnecessary, but could have been done in a different way. I'll put it that way. The movie was great. It was it was a bit different. It was a really nice introduction into the character of Black Panther, the history of Black Panther. Even though this wasn't a prequel, it still, revealed the history.
Right.
And the kind of path going forward of Black Panther. A lot of really awesome moments in it.
Something that people need to know right away about Black Panther. This movie is called Black Panther. This is not a Black Panther movie. This is King T'Challa's movie. This is all of them, all of his tribe, the other characters. Like, you see Black Panther have the costume on a few times. You see him engaging in battle and doing the cool shit that you saw from Civil War. But it's not like 9/10 of the movie is him, running around in a suit fighting stuff. This is his story. It's a story about him. So I really like that.
Yeah. And I think that's in keeping with the other movies.
Yeah.
You know, the Captain America movies, they weren't all Captain America in his suit running around. There was stuff.
That didn't even happen till later anyway.
Yeah, there was stuff with, it's just Steve.
Yeah.
Not even talking about just the first movie. I'm talking about the last one, Civil War.
Yeah.
Sure, they had this big climatic battle, but there was also just Steve Rogers.
Fucking Winter Soldier. Spoiler warning for Winter Soldier. I mean, it's got a lot of cool action scenes in it, but the espionage draw was the big appeal,
Yeah. Okay. So, getting the spoilers for Black Panther. I'll go ahead and, since I was already talking about the whole scene where they captured the guy and then he was rescued, that after once the, villain guy went back to Wakanda, I was like, okay, so the whole thing with the other guy was unnecessary because he was just going back anyway. Yeah. And they only did it to get the CIA guy there.
Yeah.
It's like, you really couldn't do that any other way but drawing out like 40 plus minutes of the movie. I don't even know how long it took. It might be exaggerating.
Yeah.
But it felt pretty long. Don't get me wrong. It was a cool sequence. The car scene, car chase thing was pretty cool. It just felt kind of worthless other than being a cool action thing.
Yeah.
So, God, it's one of those movies. The whole thing with the flowers getting burned. That is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because what happens next?
Yeah, what happens? He can't. That's how he got his power.
Yeah,
and from what I understand, they were all destroyed on his order. So, if somebody comes and challenges him, like if he has to remove the power, can he? And if he can, how's he going to get it? There's going to be something. Somebody's going to have a fucking secret formula somewhere. Or somebody is going to have kept like a secret stash of the flowers and they cultivate them somewhere.
Or they go on a quest to find more because it's a wild plant, It's not, unless they took the only ones, which is...
Yeah. I was kind of up and down about the whole plant shit period, but I took it for what it was.
Yeah, I think it's it's an interesting way to deal with, how someone gets powers,
Yeah.
It's not like they're born with it. It's not this or that. And, the whole thing with him being king, he has to earn it,
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a certain level of respect from the other clans. So they don't, necessarily challenge for rule, but the possibility's there, and it plays into the story like it does. So even though, he has these powers, he can back it up even without his power, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was really solid. You have any other thoughts on Black Panther?
Well, I want to say that whenever I rated this movie, I did rate it a 4 out of 5. I felt like the Black Panther was exploding all around me, and I was a guy going, yeah, it was really good, but Civil War, this was not. Winter Soldier, this was not. Did I have a good time? Yes, I did. Did I enjoy it? Me and my wife saw it together. We both enjoyed it, yes. But this was not a creme de la creme. I felt like everybody around me was like shaking me by the throat going, "You seen Black Panther?" I'm like, yes, I seen it. It was good. No, it's the greatest thing ever. I'm like, no, not that damn good, but it is good.
I will say I think it certainly gets part of its whole part of the reason it was so popular was because of all the things that are, going on today in the world related to African Americans.
Yeah.
That was a huge part of it.
Definitely felt that.
And I'm completely cool with that. I thought it was really cool. The things that were reflective of traditional African, tribes.
Yeah.
It was really solid in that aspect, I think.
They did a really good job of merging the like tribal looks with the future. Like, you got that this was an area that just got hit by a fucking meteorite, and then the civilizations built shit with it and grew with it and learned how to manipulate it over time. Like, when they explain that that's how they are the way they are, like, Wakanda is a hyper advanced civilization aside from the world all to itself.
Yeah.
They have machinery, technology, medicine, culture, all this stuff that is far beyond any like high scale technology shit that the rest of the world has. And they show how, because, the meteorite fell and they adopted it, they incorporated it.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I like how they wove those two together.
Yeah, it was a nice change from the just, oh, hey, we have all this stuff, now we're gonna, go blow everything up and or do these things. It was, nope, we're gonna chill, we take care of ourselves, our legacy, our history, and we move forward.
Yeah.
That's our way.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And even at the end, where they start to expand, I think based on what we've seen so far, it makes sense. It's not as dramatic as it could be. It's still pretty dramatic just considering what's happening.
Right.
But it could be a whole lot more dramatic,
Right. We'll see how. I mean, if you're even treating Black Panther 1 as the first in a trilogy, a la Captain America, a la Iron Man, brings nothing but high hopes for the next one and or the third one. So, like, if this was just his introduction style story, which it wasn't, but if this was the first Black Panther movie in the succession of Marvel Cinematic Universe Black Panther films, oh man, they can't go anywhere from up but here.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do, oh my god, it's gonna be so good.
So while I was there seeing that, seeing the previews beforehand, still on the MCU topic, the Ant-Man and Wasp movie, that is going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
I see it just being just as good as the first one was.
Dude, it's Paul Rudd, of course it's going to be.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm already being asked to take, someone to the movies when it comes out.
Yeah, I've got to show Ant-Man 1 to my wife. She hasn't seen it yet, but we've got to see it because we're going to go see this one as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on Black Panther. And unless you have anything else, Chris, for your week.
Nope, just our topic.
I guess it's time to roll into this week's topic.
So I want to throw this out there.
Okay, throw it out.
So for our audience, a little bit of behind the scenes.
Okay.
I got home Tuesday night, and I immediately sent Michael a message going, "Can we record now?"
Oh, no, let me tell you. I'm going to tell it better.
Okay.
So I get a text message at 3:46 in the morning. We've got to record right now. I was like, man, it's 3:40. No, I've got to talk about this movie I just saw. I was like, no. Oh, yeah, that was good. I was laughing and smiling so hard when I got that text from you, when I got that Facebook message from you, because I was like, good. Now I feel better about gushing about God of War and can't wait to talk about it. So now, on your end, you've got Infinity War, and you can't wait to talk about it. Ooh, it's going to be good. So yeah, that's our topic tonight, folks, is we both now have seen the Marvel Cinematic Universe movie Avengers Infinity War. We're going to do a little bit. We've actually kind of done a spoiler-free discussion last episode.
Mm-hmm.
So we probably won't dwell on that for too much. I mean, Chris can input some spoiler-free talk if he would like, but in general, if you want to hear a little bit of preliminary discussion, check out last episode because man, there's a lot to talk about in this movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this out there, and I'm putting this entirely on Michael for not stressing it. If you haven't seen Infinity War, go see it.
Yes.
Just
okay.
Period. If you haven't seen it, go see it now. Don't wait. Go.
Yes. Also, for those that this is kind of a weird thing to say because it doesn't really matter. If you don't want spoilers, you're not going to listen anyway. But if for some reason you do, again, just as we said about God of War, if you are the type of person that after you hear somebody just utterly gush and talk and fanboy and just geek out and mark out and just, if that turns you away from a movie, you need to stop listening to this episode right now because we're going to talk about it. And I have great things to say about this film. Chris may as well. And that may, if that's a thing for you, then it's coming. I agree. That is a spoiler-free thing that needs to be said right off the bat. Especially if you have seen the Marvel Cinematic Universe up to this point. And just throwing a date out here right now, we're a little after the middle of May right now. So if you are listening to this episode, especially after me dropping it on the SoundCloud page, and you have not seen this movie yet, few caveats. If you've seen all the MCU up to this point, and for some reason you have not seen this one, maybe you're scared of it living up to the hype, or maybe you're just really biding your time, or maybe you have your doubts. I don't know what reason, but you need to go see this movie. If you haven't seen any of the MCU and you're sick to fucking death of people talking about these films, I totally get it. You don't have to go see it. If it ain't up your alley, it's not up your alley. I believe it is. You don't even have to see every single movie in this MCU to lead up to it. But if you do, that's going to help you. It's going to. There are some prerequisite movies, I will give you that, but you get more of all these characters by seeing all the previous content.
I was so glad.
Yes. You don't have to see the TV show stuff so much, but the movies themselves, you're going to want to because there's lots of callbacks. This does not, Batman original movie, this is not. Spider-Man original movie, this is not. You're not going to get... This movie has like 50, 60 some odd characters in it. They don't even spend like 10 seconds going, hey, you're the guy with the hammer who's a god. They don't do shit like that. You either know who these people are or get the fuck off the bus. I genuinely encourage you, if you are a movie person, again, if you were the person like I mentioned earlier where you're just sick to death of hearing about the MCU, this is not your bag, you're not into this, I totally get it, I understand, I get it. But if you are that person, but you're also a movie person, this shit pays off. And this movie needs to be seen in that regard. So go check them out, go watch them. I don't even know. This movie's been out for what, 2.5, 3 weeks now? So if you haven't seen it by now, there's got to be some reasons. And I'm sorry for whatever they are, but holy shit. It only took about a week and a half for the whole world to go, hey, fucking lids off, people. Spoilers are everywhere. Fuck you if you ain't seen this.
Yeah.
And that being said, we are also going to be spoiler heavy as well.
Couple other things.
Go ahead.
I want to throw out that, I don't know if you know, but Dave Bautista, did you watch him in WWE ever? I don't know how much WWE you even watched.
No, and I only watched a little bit back in grade school and high school. Sure. I rarely got a chance to check that shit out. I was into it heavily, especially the Stone Cold Austin, the Stone Cold era and the NWO era, but that's unfortunately a huge nerd hole that I've never been way deep in, and I can't regurgitate all the knowledge about. I like it. I enjoy it from a distance for now.
Yeah, so Dave Bautista was a wrestler, and then he kind of faded away, and then he showed up in a little film called Guardians of the Galaxy. And I didn't mention this when I actually talked about those movies, but it was one of those things that kind of came through with Infinity War. It really hit me how good of a job he's done.
Yes.
It's not often you see someone just make a transition like that. I mean, sure, you have The Rock, you have, these other guys have done it, but he was not a terribly huge name. He had his moments in the spotlight, of course, but he wasn't necessarily super popular at any point in time. But he fits the role. He's playing well.
Dude, people love Drax.
Yeah.
In all three of these instances of seeing him, people love Drax.
Yeah.
He's great.
And I was reading, so immediately after I got home, I started reading through articles, while I was making my notes, trying to make sure I didn't forget things I wanted to talk about. And one of them actually brought up that one of his lines was pure improv. It wasn't in the script for him to say, but it fits so well in it, So he certainly got a lot of potential as an actor, and skill as an actor, not just potential. I had mentioned in Thor Ragnarok that the humor didn't fit the movie at all. It was too much, over the top. There was it was better than Ragnarok, by leaps and bounds. There's still a couple of moments in Infinity War where I was like, all right, we're still in this kind of mentality. Wasn't terrible, wasn't nearly as drastic, but there were still a couple moments. But it was overall a lot better suited. I think that's it for non-spoiler.
Yeah, it's... I'm sure there are people out there who have done it by now. I mean, there's I don't know, 17,000 Infinity War videos in existence already, and I'm sure many of them have already done spoiler-free reviews. Feel free to check them out across any YouTube page. And again, you can also check our last podcast episode, where mainly, unfortunately, it was me because Chris hadn't seen it yet, but I gave as much as a spoiler-free review as I could, and tried my best to push people to it. That's about all you can really do for this movie, because holy shit, it kicks off. It just kicks the door in with shit happening. So with all that being said, we are about to roll into spoilers.
One more thought before the spoiler.
Go ahead, please do.
We were talking last week, and I think even the week before, a little bit of talk about it, about, how they were going to do Thanos in the movie, because of his whole background, who he is, I will say they nailed it. If you're concerned about how they're going to treat Thanos in all aspects, character, power, everything, I think they nailed it spot on.
Bottom line for this whole movie, we're including Thanos specifically because holy shit, it's good. The bottom line with this movie is, if you haven't paid attention to the MCU, you need to start. You need to get on it. You need to get on that shit. If you like movies, watch them and do it. And after that, does this movie live up to the hype? Me? Fuck yes, it did. Yes, it did. I actually thought that several times in the theater when I was watching the movie. I was like, this is so good. I was actually scared. I was actually nervous at some points in my life, going, oh man, I don't know if it's going to be so much build up, and he has so much build up. I don't know. And I was like, I'm fucking loving it. So there we go. Spoiler free shit out of the way. Chris, can we get to spoilers now? Can we do this now?
Yeah.
Can we do it? Let's fucking do it. We are now going to be talking about spoilers for Marvel Cinematic Universe movie Avengers Infinity War as of this time right now. So you've been thoroughly warned. Again, please go check this movie out. Go check all these movies out. You are doing yourself a disservice by not getting involved with this shit. So here we go. Holy shit. Yeah. As I said, this movie was fucking great. This movie was so fucking good. I had a good time. I got to see it with my wife. We watched it together. We both enjoyed it. We both had a damn good time. A fucking roller coaster ride throughout the movie. Oh man, there's so much to talk about with this movie. So much to talk about. what about you, Chris? Do you feel like it paid off? Do you feel like Thanos paid off? Like the movie paid off? Like all this watching you've been doing over the past couple of weeks or months or whatever, do you feel like it's all paid off for you with this movie?
Yes. Like I was saying, it was totally worth it watching all the other movies. Like you said, the TV series didn't really play into it. The only one I would say that you might want to watch would be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that's really mainly the first season, I think. First two seasons, and then you're probably good. But having all that culminate into this movie, everything was wrapped up so well. Yep. I say wrapped up, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. And seeing, like, I went and, it just like you said, when I got home from the movie, now all the gloves were off. Now I could go watch, like, other people's reviews and go watch, like, you know, Easter egg videos and, story synopsis, and here's all shit that tied in. Like, I could read and watch everything. And it was just a reminder of how, even down to small, minute details, how much time and care and love the MCU has put into these films. Like, they have callbacks to, like, the first Captain America movie. They have callbacks to the second Thor movie. They have callbacks to everything.
Yeah.
So good. Like, they care. I love it. So I've been rolling around in my head of how we're gonna do this, and I tell you, what I've noticed from most reviews is that they start talking about how they love the movie, and then it's Thanos, and then it's just all over the place. This is gonna be better for you, I believe, because again, it's been 3 weeks now since I've seen it. 3 weeks, yeah, 2 or 3 weeks. You're fresh off the presses.
Oh yeah.
So, as best as we can, let's try to go from the beginning of the movie to the end and just talk about shit that we liked, that we remembered, that were good points, bad points, whatever. I don't have a plot analysis. I tried today to look for one to try to go, like, you know, scene by scene or whatever. But good God, there was so much shit in this movie. I mean,
there was.
This was a 2 hour 20-something minute movie,
yeah.
And I'll tell you, I was good the whole fucking way.
Yeah,
I can't think of a time in the movie where there was a fucking, like, a piss break. It was like, no. This shit's coming up. Time to go take a piss.
Nope.
I
Hope
think
you
I
got
actually
pause.
had to. Yeah. This is an example of movie that needs intermission right here, because holy shit. So right off the bat, you see where the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 shit left off. I'm sorry, where Thor Ragnarok 2's shit left off. And apparently
just
Thanos
Thor Ragnarok, by the way.
Yeah.
There's no sequel.
Yeah. Shit already kicks off. Like, Thanos is already on the scene. Yeah. He's already got his minion type people that you know nothing about, you've never met before.
Yep.
And he's already kicked shit in. A controversial thing with me. This is probably one of my slight negative things that I don't know how I feel about it.
Okay.
The Hulk gets his shit kicked in. Like, I love the comedic line of "we have a Hulk," because that's a callback, and I was like, that's good. That's real good. The Hulk got his shit kicked in, and I was like, holy shit, it's so important that y'all do that. That is so vastly important that you have done that, because now it sets a clear, definitive power line for Thanos. I don't know how far he could go with that fight in the comics without the Infinity Gauntlet, but the fact that he already had it and had the Power Stone there, that was like, okay, we get it. Now he just bitch whipped the Hulk. What I didn't care for the rest of the movie, and I understand why they do it, and I know the mechanical reason why they do it, and I know the story reason why they've done it. It's just not a decision I care for. I didn't like how they continued the idea of Hulk ain't coming out. Like, Hulk just, no, I'm not coming. Like, I don't like the baby that they have made the Hulk. I don't care for that. I get it. I understand the machination of it. Just saying I don't agree with it. Anyway, so that happens, And then you see Loki pulling his shit, and you're like, oh, he's going to... And he fucking dies.
Yeah.
Very important thing about Loki dying. They show him killing him. It's not I've got Loki in between two fingers, and then I look at Loki, and then I look at you at the camera, and the camera turns away, and you hear a snap. No, you saw him kill him. You heard the snap and saw the life go out of him. I was like, damn, they aren't fucking playing with this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
Knows how many minutes into it?
God, like 5 minutes or so. Yeah. I'm not saying I had any aspirations that we were going to see, fucking visceration and guts like Deadpool, but just the fact that this movie, they've been like, yeah, right here on the screen, somebody dies, like, in the hands of somebody else. That's some shit. And then, if that wasn't good enough for you, if that wasn't enough death for you in this first 5 minutes, he killed Heimdall as well. I'm like, oh my God. Whoa. So this is how we're doing the whole killing half the universe? That was my silly first thought. But that's not the case. Having the new baddies on the scene and you knowing nothing about them, I was already starting to write them off because I'm like, they're all gray skin tone, alien looking things. I get the visual distinction between them. He's the big burly brute. Yeah, cool.
Right.
She's the quick, nimble fighter, He's the intelligent mage guy. That shit quickly got evaporated because they were badass. Especially, and I don't remember their names. I should. Again, I've only seen this movie once. I've been debating on me and my wife going back to the theater and seeing it again. I don't know. But either way, I don't remember their names, and I don't remember from the comics either. I'm so sorry. But that the one that controls shit with his mind, the telekinesis guy, holy shit. He gets so much screen time. And I ate all of it up with his whole fucking hand behind his back, talking, with an air of pompous attitude shit, and then just throwing metal around everywhere. Oh, man. I love that guy.
Yeah, it was so casual, too.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, flick of his fingers. What do you think you're doing?
He knew. Like, I got fucking power. I literally don't have to lift a finger. But if I do, it's like, yeah, like that. And I can just throw, like, half a fucking ship at you.
Yeah. And then later on, not really getting into it since we're not there yet, but getting it, he works for Thanos, though. And he recognizes that despite all his power, he's nothing to Thanos.
Yep. No, I like that. And well, it's true now because I think they're all dead. All 4 of them got killed, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, one got shipped out of airlock. One got ran across these thing. Yeah. Actually, they all. So another thing that I like that they could have done, but I'm glad they didn't because it's something that was done in the comics. I think Mephisto actually tried to. I think Mephisto was working Thanos the whole time in order for him to get the gauntlet. They didn't do that with these. These 4 were loyal fucking servants to Thanos. Yeah. They didn't have some ulterior motive where we're like, oh, Lord Thanos, we will do your bidding, and then when your back's turned, we're going to get the gauntlet. No. They were like, yeah, that guy is fucking powerful. We don't fuck with him. We damn near worship him. We don't play games. So then we're down to Earth. Hulk shows up, gets slammed in the shit with the banter back and forth between Tony Stark and Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Loved it.
That's great.
I remember friends and like podcast people. I remember people talking about that. Like, can you guys not wait until Tony Stark and Dr. Stephen Strange have witty banter back and forth? And we got it. And guess what? It was great. Which is a theme throughout this whole fucking movie. So they show up on Earth. They start wrecking shit. And again, there's the telekinesis guy just wreaking fucking havoc, making light work of damn near everything. There was the stuff with the scenes between Scarlet Witch and Vision, giving more backstory to them. So now you understand what happened to them, that they were kind of eloping, but they were basically trying to live their own life away from all this shit. But of course they're going to get drugged back in. I mean, it's Vision. Come on.
And
even if it wasn't Thanos related, you can't, dude. Yeah,
and I had no idea, that relationship was there. I mean, I know
really?
In Civil War, it was kind of, it didn't seem like it was that kind of relationship in Civil War to me.
See, I like that about it. They didn't, the MCU has not thrown that relationship in your face. They've subtly hinted throughout. And it's just kind of up to you to understand, like, yeah, these two are a thing. Like, they want to be a thing. But so we get a little bit of back scenery from them. We get to see how it's more power gauging when they show up to fight, and they fight between the Glaive girl and I think the Glaive guy and the girl were fighting Vision and Scarlet Witch. And I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch it again. It may be something I missed, but there is a reason why his glaive went through Vision like that. Like, it wasn't just the fact that he snuck up from behind and stabbed him from the back. It's something about, I think in the comics, like, his glaive can attack Vision. So there's something there. There's something about, like, Vision he basically can't be hit. He's fucking invulnerable. If anything, shit goes through him if he wants it to. But this glaive, like, consistently kept fucking him up. And I think there may have been a detail. I think one of them may have said something like, this is made out of something or whatever.
The only thing I remember is Vision saying that it's preventing me from phasing or something like that.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. That's probably what it was. And the moment, I got to tell you, whenever Cap showed up, I thought that was somebody else. I thought don't ask me why, even though I'd already seen the trailer, I thought Black Panther was about to come out right then.
Okay.
And then Cap walks out of the shadows, and I was like, "You dumbass! Of course that was Cap. Come on." New look. Yeah. So good. So good.
Yeah, and it plays off so well off of Civil War with him just kind of walking away from everything and not having a shield either.
Yep. The scene where Thunderbolt Ross is talking, about, you guys need to get your shit together or whatever, and it's like, yeah, here's Captain. You gonna bring him in? Yeah, I'll get around to that, or whatever he said. And he's like, well, there's a court martial.
Oh yeah.
Like, come on, man, you're not gonna side with Captain America? Come on.
And that was something else I read that I didn't realize during the movie, but after reading it, it really, was apparent. He's not referenced as Captain America most of the time.
Yeah, he's not.
He's just Steve.
Yeah. I didn't pick up on that till somebody else mentioned it up. He's mainly called Steve in Infinity War, not Captain America, not even Cap.
And his suit's all blacked out.
Yeah, because he's like defected from all that shit, which is interesting.
Yeah, apparently there is a comic arc related to him where he becomes nomad or something like that, and just lives in the wild. And this is kind of it's not that specifically, but it's it's similar to it. It was the inspiration for it, I guess you could say. Yeah.
So, my memory's starting to get blurry. I'm on an emotional fucking just high from remembering this movie, but I'm trying to remember where we went from here.
Was that when it went to the Guardians?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so we got a little bit of backstory, and a little bit more scenery with the Guardians. I like the fucking banter. The fucking banter back and forth between fucking Thor and Star-Lord.
Yeah.
He was like, "Are you intentionally lower your voice?" No, I always talk. And
then he says Thor is copying him.
Yeah, he says, "I see you see you copied my beard." No, I didn't.
Teenager Groot.
Oh, dude, he was like, "I am Groot." Oh, whoa, you foul language, and you're like, what a fucking place in time, Chris. What a world we live in. There is a fucking talking tree that is supposed to be emulating a teenage boy. He says, "I am Groot." You don't know what the fuck he said, but you understand and infer from their reactions that he probably said a cuss word or something. He probably said some bad shit like, "Fuck you, Dad," or whatever. But you're laughing at this moment of a fucking tree talking. This is great. What a world we get to live in. How spoiled. Oh, man.
Yeah.
And
they
also
split up.
Yeah. So, okay, bam, right now.
Yeah.
This is one of the cool things I kept telling my wife 4 or 5 times in this movie. I'm like, look at this little fucking mini team we got now. This is how the MCU has handled you people think that we can't handle having 60, 70 some odd characters in a movie, huh? You think that's too much, huh? Because, dude, I saw fucking, like, pre-reviews and news stories and articles months and months before this movie come out, and one of the main gripes I saw, again, it was so fucking stupid because the movie wasn't even out yet, is I feel like the movie scene is gonna be like superhero overload. Like, have people not had enough of these superhero movies? Well, I've had enough of DC superhero movies, I'll tell you that. But Marvel, no, I have not. But go on. Well, I just think that if they're going to have all these superhero movies in one, it's going to be too bloated. It's going to be too much, and it's not going to be great. So MCU said, it is, and here's how it's going to be great. We're going to take, over the course of time, and establish these teams. We're going to establish the Guardians of the Galaxy. We're going to establish the Avengers. We're going to establish the many partnerships in those. So you know that a Rocket Raccoon is really good with Groot. Like, there's a mini team right there, but they are part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. You're going to see a movie that's going to show that Spider-Man really likes hanging out with Tony Stark, etc. But that, he's kind of an Avenger, but I mean, now he is. But
that was an awesome moment too.
Yeah, you get to see all these teams working together. So we're going to make this movie way down the line where we're going to break up all these teams, and they're going to be in all different aspects. So when you saw Thor, and it was Thor, Rocket Raccoon, and who else? Who was the third person that went with him?
Groot.
Is Groot? It was just those two?
Yeah, it was just those three. Because they were in the escape pod, and it was Rocket Raccoon in the middle, and then Thor and Groot behind on the shoulders.
Yeah, there you go. Mini team right there. And then when later on in the movie, it was Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Spider-Man were in. I'm like, look at these little fucking mini teams. Look at these new little mini brigades. I love how they did that. It brought all the characters in, but had them interacting with different people. So not only are you getting their screen time, you're getting them interacting with people that you want them to interact with. So you're seeing new dynamics for these people. I love it. So then you also got a little bit of exposition, which I'll get into more of that when we get to the Gamora part, period. But you get the exposition where Gamora's down on her luck. She's really depressed, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, look, there's going to come a time where you're going to have to do what I say. You're going to have to kill me if I need you to. Of course not. Well, you're going to have to. Promise me. When she said, promise me on your mother, my fucking heart dropped. There was so much fucking emotion from that statement. Promise me on your mother. I was like, oh, Marvel, you are not pulling the fucking stops with this movie. Holy shit, my fucking heart bleeds for you. And he was like, all right, I promise on my mother. And I was like, oh, man, so good.
Yeah, I was actually curious if he was going to promise at that point.
Yeah,
because
like, no, Gamora,
that's like
you just signed your death warrant. I understood. I knew what that meant. All right, help me out now. So where are we at now? I think
at this point they split. It was basically the rest of the Guardians went to the Collector.
Right. That's right, because they thought the Collector had one or two of the other stones.
Yeah. The Tesseract, I believe.
Yeah. I think so. They also went down to Earth, where the guys on Earth were trying to figure out what to do, and I think there was a reason why they were gonna go. I think was it Strange didn't want to, but Tony talked him into going.
Oh yeah, when they were when they took over that ship, or I say took over, they rescued Doctor Strange.
Right.
From the guy, and that's that was a very interesting thing. I was like, where are they going with this? What movie are they referencing? And I'd seen Aliens, but I was like, what does that have anything to do with Aliens? And then the guy gets space, and I was like, well, that was efficient.
Yeah.
And that was, I think that was also the first scene that revealed all the details to Spider-Man's suit, which we haven't even talked about the suits.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Iron Man suit.
Iron Man, the fucking bleeding edge suit. Awesome.
Yeah, the nanotech. And then Spider-Man essentially having the same kind of tech with his suit. And then you see spider legs come out of it.
Yeah, later. So you see his new suit, and it already looks cool.
Oh, yeah.
But later on, you get the fucking legs, and it's like, oh, they just keep adding. They just keep fucking raising. They keep raising their own bar.
Yeah. And that was one of those things that fans were curious what they were, what the suit entailed, because those legs are from a comic.
Yeah.
And they were like, it's not it's gonna look weird on the screen and stuff, so it's gonna be, we're kind of hesitant to see it.
Yeah.
It was.
And Marvel just points a thumb at him. It's gonna look weird, they said. Just hold my beer, guys. Let me show you what I can do with fucking spider legs in a suit, okay?
Yeah. And every time they came out, it was awesome.
Yes.
It fit.
It fit. It was used effectively, and it looked like spider legs.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just like legs that just you stuck out and did things like fucking. They moved around and attached to things, and they moved like a spider leg.
Mm-hmm.
Cool suit.
Yeah. So they took the ship and they went back to Titan.
Yeah, they were going to Thanos' home planet Titan.
Yes, which we know from what Thanos was saying, he actually sent the minions and said, "Bring the stones back to Titan." Yep. He wasn't doing it himself. He was going to let them do it. It was beneath him at this point,
Yep.
And yeah, so we really have at that point three things going on: Thor and his group going to where they went to the forge.
They went to the forge because Thor needed a new hammer, basically.
His hammer, he doesn't have it anymore.
Nope.
That went away in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So they had to go get him a new weapon. And it was funny, because it was made by the dwarves. I can't think of the dwarf's name offhand. But
Peter Dinklage.
No, I was talking about the character.
I know what you meant.
Yeah, you ruined my build-up. But
Sorry.
when they went there, and the dwarf comes out, and it's Peter Dinklage, it's like, I see what you did there. You have a dwarf playing a dwarf, except for the dwarf is actually a giant-sized dwarf. So it's like, okay. But it totally fit, because the body structure, of a dwarf fit with that giant size. And he filled the role very well. I have no complaints whatsoever. I don't think there are any actors I have any complaints about in this movie.
Mm-mm.
Can you think of any that jump out at you?
I do, but I'll get to it.
Okay.
I'll do, but I'll get to it.
Okay.
And it's such a small... Any complaints I have about this movie, none of them approach the realm of deal breakers. None of them approach the realm of you should steer clear. It's just, I mean, I've got little gripes. They're tiny gripes.
Yeah. Man. So they forged the axe, and that was, it was, here's one thing I really thought was odd in how they did it, was when they kickstart the star and get it going again. I don't think that ship has enough oomph into it to do that.
Yeah.
It was a pod. It wasn't an actual ship. It was just basically an escape pod they were using. That was kind of like, I know we're, fantasy, sci-fi, but
I'll let it slide. Okay.
Yeah, it was odd, but that was interesting, but then it didn't work.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, what is he going to do? What's the alternative?
I'm just going to take the brunt force of a star.
Yeah. And that's one of those moments where you get to see the actual strength of Thor.
Right. Right.
Not just brute, force strength, but
he has
strength of will.
Power, folks. Yeah. So we see that. We then go to
actually, one other part real quick about that. Groot in that scene.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I didn't even understand that until I actually saw it cool down. I was like, oh, so he's going to pick it up and bring it over to the handle. No, he becomes the handle. I was like, what? Okay.
He cuts off his own arm so he can provide the handle.
Wait a minute. Okay, so now we're saying that Groot apparently is fucking strong as hell as well, because his arm can act as a fucking handle for Thor's axe. Like, are you shitting me? Like, okay, sure, sounds good to me. I'm rolling with it.
I'm willing to go with at this point for that once it's connected to the blade, there's some transference of power.
Yeah,
makes sense, and especially once Thor gets his hands on it, that power is going to course through it, and it's going to strengthen it beyond what Groot is actually capable of.
Right. It was definitely something like out of left field, and I was like, that's a fucking cool little addition there. Mm-hmm. Again, ratcheting up. Again, adding more to the pot. Just like, man, fucking all right.
Okay.
So then we go to the Collector's Planet. No, I think it was Nowhere. Ain't that what it's called?
Yeah, Nowhere.
So we go to Nowhere, and they're trying to find the Collector to get whatever stone or stones are there. Mm-hmm. And oh man, I can't wait till we're talking about the actual point with Star-Lord's character, but you get some more emotional build up tension shit happening here, because Thor's there, and Gamora goes out there and she's gonna handle the shit herself, and of course
Thanos is there.
Yeah, who did I say? I said Thor. I said Thor, didn't I? God damn it. So Thanos is already there, and they try to sneak up on him, and Gamora steps out to handle shit herself, trying to catch him off guard. Doesn't do any good. Of course it doesn't. So he's holding Gamora hostage, and there's Star-Lord with a gun. And he's like, she's like, you have to do it. And apparently Thanos knows that's what that he knows that's his intent. So he was like, yeah, he ain't gonna do it. And he goes to do it, and the fucking bubbles come out of the gun. Mm-hmm. And you see his hand with the fucking reality gem glowing. Yeah. I was like, oh.
And that's not even, that's even jumping ahead. That when they first got there, seeing that, what's his name ran out? Batista. I keep forgetting it. Drax.
Oh, yeah.
Drax runs out and kicks it off. Him and actually Gamora did.
I think him and the fucking mental, the Martian girl. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I cannot remember her name. Mantis.
Is her name Mantis?
I may be wrong.
I mean, that's kind of how I referred to her in my head, but I didn't think that was her actual name.
Didn't Drax and her both go out there and he just like fucked them up? He turned Drax.
Drax started to go out, and then Star-Lord stopped him, And then Gamora and Drax ended up going out. I think Mantis followed. She went out as well, but not, leading the charge like they did.
That's right. Yeah.
Because he was like, okay, you go right, you go left. And he's like, no, the right. Because they went around the other way. And he was like, all right, here we go. And they, I'm trying to think of the actual sequence.
I think Drax got fucked up first. I think he got turned to like chunks of look like stone, but he basically got cubed.
Yeah, but then Gamora actually stabs him, Thanos.
Oh yeah,
she actually stabs him more than once, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And he actually, starts crumpling to the ground, and she starts weeping, and then it's like, what's happening here? Because this doesn't make sense. This isn't that long into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the and then you hear his voice, pointing out that, of course, she, feels for him and she's mourning him and stuff. There's still that part of her that cares, etc. And then, like you said, it's revealed he has the stone and stuff starts changing. And then he just leaves with Gamora.
Yeah.
And then it reveals that the Collector's thing is entirely in flames. He wasn't actually even there.
Yep. He had already been there, already handled business, already had the shit. So he made a reality. Yeah. He's like, motherfuckers, I'm so far ahead of you. You guys don't even realize how far ahead this game I already am.
Yeah, and I thought that was an interesting look into the Reality Stone's power, the way they did it. Because it wasn't that reality was it. After he left, things started reverting. So it wasn't as powerful, so to speak, as, you think when, it controls reality. It's more of a localized reality thing, when the stone's by itself, of course.
A detailed point I wanted to bring up about that as well. This was something that I was curious about with the power levels in general. It's like, how are they gonna, man, if he gets a hold of all the stones, he has all the gems, has all the power, how are they gonna make that even make sense? How are they gonna balance that out? And they showed it in that scene whenever he turned fucking Drax to cubes and turned Mantis into this fucking swirly
the
ribbon version of herself. When he actually left, they came back to normal, which goes into what you were saying earlier. It's powerful, but it's very localized. Who knows how far that can go, how local it has to be, but yeah, it's not like literally infinitely powerful.
I mean, it was enough that they couldn't tell that nowhere the Collector's Place was just destroyed.
Right.
So I don't know how big that is on a scale, compared to the city they entered. Is the whole city like that? Or was it just the Collector's Place?
So after this, the next part was...
Is it the Doctor Strange part?
Oh, you know what? I think it was. I think the big mid scene was coming up. I'm trying to remember which came first. Was Gamora's death first, or was them being on Titan in the big Titan showdown? I can't remember.
I don't know.
I can't remember. Well, we don't have to be in fucking order. Yeah. It don't matter. Let's talk about the Gamora death part first. Okay. This part was one of the weaker parts for me, and I have to explain why, because it was not meant to be. I've after thinking about it and realizing the point of that scene, I get it. But upon first viewing, I was like, man, is she just gonna die? Are they about to kill her for real? Like, I don't know. I just felt so odd about her having to die.
Yeah.
But it's so important that she did, because throughout this movie they've laced in different scenes from Thanos' past showing some shit that he's done.
Yeah.
And how angry not angry, but just how evil he was. He was going around and fucking massacring half of civilizations just on a whim, just to, and they build up, I'm not fucking an evil guy just to be evil. I'm doing something for a purpose. My purpose is fucking flawed and wrong, and nobody would agree with me, but I really don't care. I'm the only one who has this fucking wherewithal. I'm the only one that has the madness to decide to do this and commit to it. You guys won't do it. Nobody else will do it. Fuck it. I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
This scene with her being killed is so important because it sets in stone even further that Thanos, and this is something that this is just nail on the head with what you were talking about earlier about is Thanos worth it? This adds to Thanos being worth it. Thanos is built up in this movie, is explained in this movie, is set in this movie, and he is a fucking great written villain.
Mm-hmm.
Are there plot holes? Are there things they could have done better? Yada yada. Of course. Turn your fucking super critical movie brain off for a minute and just stick it in the MCU if you're an MCU fan. Thanos is not fucking Ultron. He's not just and he's not any other villain. Mm-hmm. He's not some guy that just wants to be evil just to be evil, and we have to stop the evil guy. He has his reason. Wrong, yes. Stupid, wrong, but he still has his reasons. He is built as a character that you can rationalize with. He is built as a character that you can. I can't even think of the word right now. You can relate to him. Yeah. You can relate to him exactly. So that scene, whenever he has to kill Gamora, and it shows him crying, it shows him emotional, it shows that you were an adopted girl, but you were still my daughter to me, and I do care about you, no matter what you think. I know you. It's so funny saying this, like I know you and the entire universe thinks I'm this horrible, evil person. But I have emotions, Gamora. I do love you. And this is what I have to do to get the Infinity Stone. I thought that was just kind of okay. I don't know. It just kind of rubbed me off the wrong way. Like, do we have to have a sacrifice for the Soul Stone? I mean, most of the other stones you just got. There was no gimmick to getting them, but this one, for whatever reason, was.
Yeah, I think the Soul Stone is going to play a bigger part, and it might make more sense.
I suppose. It just felt like that stone in particular was just set aside from the other ones. Mm-hmm. The Tesseract there was no gimmick to get the Tesseract. There was no gimmick to get most of these. It's just this one was, oh yeah, by the way, you got to kill somebody. And then this plane will give up the Soul Stone, I guess.
Yeah.
I also will say that whenever Red Skull was there, I was like, holy fuck. I had the same mentality that almost everybody I've heard talk about this thought. Was like, oh, there's death. This is where it starts. This is where the fucking interlacing story of death and Thanos. No, it's somebody. Okay, who is somebody? Oh, it's Red Skull. And I was like, what? And then I thought, oh, shit. In Captain America 1, he just got teleported somewhere. And then he tells you in Infinity War, yep. So I had my hands on power, and I touched it and got teleported, and here I am. And I've been alone ever since. I'm basically the fucking bitch guardian of this stone. So if you want it, I can tell you how to get it. I was like, wow. Yeah. Wow. Way to tie it back to such an old movie. Holy crap. So Gamora gets killed off. He gets the Soul Stone. And again, I don't want to play down. I didn't agree with the gimmick of it, but I do love how they portray Thanos in that scene as being like emotional, like actually attached to somebody. He didn't just go like, whatever, she's just an adopted girl. Killed her. He was struggling with it, but he's like, I've come this far in my fucking crazy ass journey. Gotta do it. Here we go.
I think that's one of those moments, too, where the whole audience watching is like, okay, so he's going to sacrifice her. But the fact that it shows that she didn't, think that was actually a possibility. It didn't register to her.
Yeah, she thought it was game over.
Yeah.
She was like, ha ha, you come this far, you're not going to get what you want. Ha, wait, what are you doing? Let go of my arm.
And then when he does, the tears do start flowing from Thanos, she makes a comment about him crying, and then Red Skull speaks up out of nowhere going, it's not for him. And then that look on her face. Like, oh.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, man. So I forget what scene was next, but
I think Doctor Strange is the not necessarily the actual battle sequence, but when he's looking for possibilities.
Yeah, so they're on Titan. That group is on Titan at this point. Mm-hmm. And I think they're just waiting for him to show up. I think it's what they were doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Doctor Strange is like fucking tweaking out and doing something weird, and they're like, hey, what's up with that guy? And they go ask him, and I thought the number was kind of big. This is just a silly, dumb nitpick on my part, I know, but the idea is he was using the time stone to look through different time streams and see what outcomes there were. And over, what do you say, 14 million or 14 billion or whatever, they only found one. I was like, there's another little gimmick. Come on, man. You only found one. There aren't any other ones that kind of sort of got close. Nope. Only one. There was only one time stream or whatever where the good guys won. I'm like, okay. And then Thanos shows up. Hey, bitches, I'm here, and I want that time stone. Well, you're not going to get it. And then they fight. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Mm-hmm. So you get to see all the players in actions. The Guardians of the Galaxy, sorry, not all the Guardians, but the remaining Guardians showed up to the scene as well.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, that actually makes sense now because, yeah, by this point, Gamora was dead, and that was what led to this part. But anyway, you get to see more Iron Man. You get to see more of the Bleeding Edge suit have awesome fight scenes. Spider-Man has some fight scenes. Dude, whenever fucking Thanos like looked up to the moon, stuck his fist up and grabbed and went and pulled the fucking planet, I was like, dude, this movie is so fucking good. I cannot stand how good this movie is right now. The over the top fight scenes were just so fucking awesome.
Yeah, and he had 3 stones at that point? How many did he have?
He didn't even have them all. I forget. But so they're fighting them off. They're doing when I think I can't remember how I think he got ported down when Star-Lord got ported down and dropped the bomb on him and then backed up and flipped the double birds and dropped through a teleporter. I was like, oh yeah, it's good stuff. Spider-Man is using his armor as best as he can.
That was another one of those mini team things.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange providing the portals and someone else using them more than once, not just that moment.
Yeah.
It wasn't just him using his portals. It was used for the team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So all this shit's going on, and apparently there was a little. I mean, there was banter ahead of time, like the whole thing from the trailer, that's a good idea. Actually, your idea sucks. Let's go with the idea that doesn't suck. We'll go with my idea and blah, blah, blah. All this banter was going on. You see what I mean, man? There's just too much shit to remember, too much shit to talk about. But so then we have the scene. So there's been a little coup that's been playing this whole time where they're going to try to get the glove off. Dude, I'm literally getting goosebumps right now talking about this. So they grapple and hold Thanos as best they can. Out of nowhere, Mantis drops down and grabs Thanos' head, and she has mental control over Thanos. And they're like, fuck yes, it's time. Let's get the glove off of him. If we can just get the glove off, all of this will be done. Yeah. Even though Thanos is a mad fucking titan of power, we have enough people here that can do something. We've just got to get the fucking glove off. And she's holding him down and holding his mental capacity back, and he's still fighting and struggling through, and then all the fucking starting the talking starts about, you know, Gamora and everything, and it slowly comes out that he's done some shit to Gamora, and Star-Lord is right there. Now I want to pause. Right now. I want to talk about this scene. I want to talk about the prep for this scene. There is a big meme, and I totally get it because I was on it. I was on it myself for a minute. Of Star-Lord fucked everything up. Star-Lord is the fucking reason why all of this shit has went south. And even from the movie aspect, Star-Lord has gotten so much shit for this being like, this is such a problem. Like, why would he do this? Need I remind you that in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the moment that Star-Lord's father said, and that's why I had to kill your mother, what the fuck did he do, Chris? He immediately pulled a gun out and started shooting.
Yeah.
It wasn't let me be emotional on camera for a minute. He's like, yeah, that's why I had to kill your mother. Click, click, bang, 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 bang. They have built Star-Lord up. It is under fucking stood that Star-Lord is emotional. He is a human with human emotions, and he is a victim. He is a victim of his own emotions. So, flash forward to this movie when it's basically coming out that he killed Gamora to get what he wanted, and Star-Lord is there. It's not some out-of-character thing. It's not some stupid fucking plot element they drew up in this movie to make this happen.
Yeah.
He was playing Star-Lord. He was playing his character as the one that was built up to this point. So he fucks up, starts punching Thanos in the face, which the shocking of that causes Mantis to fall off, which dude, the look on Tony's face. So what are you doing? You're right there. We got the glove. What are you doing? Oh man, I was worked up. Right then I was like, oh, I'm so fucking tense. And Mantis flies off. Thanos comes to conscious, and with one fucking fingertip, grabs the glove back. I was like, God.
That was so close.
Marvel, you guys. You guys are so fucking good at doing this. Oh, my God. The tension in that scene, you could eat it in the theater. You could have had a fucking bag of tension popcorn and consume it. It was so thick. And then more fighting comes about. And the way that they used, you know, a good friend of mine, he was actually on the podcast back in the past, Mike. One of the things that he loved about the Amazing Spider-Man 1, I forgot his opinions on Amazing Spider-Man 2, was that he loves how they used Spider-Man's actual like web slinging abilities as part of the movie. You know, they like how Spider-Man would use his webs to fling himself around and to grab objects and use those as weapons.
Yeah.
I also like when a character uses their abilities to do things, where you see a character and do something, you go, yeah, he would do that. He would do that, and he could do that because of that. Those are his powers. The back and forth fighting between Thanos and Doctor Strange was so fucking cool.
Yeah. Because
you understood what was going on. You're like, yeah, he can do that. Yeah, he's a magician. There's just something in it. Yeah, he could do that. So when Thanos threw this fucking thing at Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange just waves his hands around and pushes it back on him, and it turns to fucking butterflies. It's like, yeah, he can do that. They go back and forth, and they use their abilities. Mm-hmm. It's so awesome. It was so awesome to see that. But of course, as the story has to go, the first of many to come, Tony was on the verge of dying.
Yeah.
And Thanos has Tony, and he's like, give me the time stone, and if you don't, I'm going to kill him. And Tony's like, fuck you, kill me. I don't give a shit. Do not give him the stone. Which there was build up to this as well.
Yeah.
Because there was a moment where Tony and Doctor Strange were talking, and Doctor Strange let him know, look, I'm telling you now, I am the guardian of this stone. And if there comes a point where I have to sacrifice you or Spider-Man, Kid Spider-Man, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Teenage boy Spider-Man. If I have to kill this child to protect this stone, I will not hesitate. I will do it. And Tony's like, yeah, sure. Now we know where our lies are. You know, I don't agree with him, but yeah, sure, whatever. So now it comes to the point where his life is on the line. And he's like, you know, give me the stone, and Tony dies. And Tony's like, don't you fucking do it. And Doctor Strange gives him the stone. He's like, are you fucking kidding me? And yeah, that's it. Fucking Thanos disappears. You're like, well, shit. I think at this point he had everyone but the Vision stone. Yeah, he only had one more to go, and he goes back to Earth.
But real quick before we jump ahead to the scene, so Doctor Strange actually responded to Tony when he's like, "Why'd you do that?" You know, and
it was the only way.
Yeah, it was the only way.
Yeah,
and didn't Doctor Strange die in that scene?
I don't remember if he did.
Because I specifically wrote down Doctor Strange sacrifice.
You know what, he may have.
I think he did. I mean, Thanos, after he got the stone.
He voluntarily gave Thanos the stone.
Yeah.
I remember that. Like, he floated the stone to him, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thanos cracked the thing and took the stone out and put it in his glove. And I thought he disappeared after that. If he died, I forget if he died.
Let me look it up. I'll look it up.
Or did he just disappear? I don't remember. Anyway, so we go back to Earth. Wakanda's known about all this. They're setting everything up. The Get This Man a Shield is there. Small complaint, just a tiny complaint. This is just the nerdy MCU kid in me lashing out for no real reason. When he said, give this man a shield, I was like, yes, we're going to see another the new Captain America shield. And then when he goes out in the field, he's got these two, like, black, like, rectangle square looking things on his. I was like, that's not. I want a shield, man. Come on. Maybe he'll get one in the future. Maybe that was just a prelim shield. Who knows? But that was kind of disappointing.
Okay, so he didn't. Not at that point.
Yeah, not at that point. So there are also, by the way, there's scenes that we've also left out. You know, there are times where Hulk's been trying to Banner's been trying to get Hulk to come out, and Hulk's like, no, I don't want to come out and play, or whatever. And it's not going to happen. And then it shows somewhere in the movie, it shows Banner in the Hulkbuster armor, which is, you know, I mean, cool sounding, but man, if he would have turned into the Hulk in the Hulkbuster armor, and then he could have had the Hulkbuster armor as Hulk armor, that would have been so fucking cool.
That would have been pretty cool.
Missed opportunity, but okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So Wakanda's setting up defense because they know where everything's coming, and of course they come, they invade. Them on the field fucking chanting. I was getting pumped. So fucking pumped.
Yeah.
The aliens show up and they're trying to work, you know, they have Vision up in the Genius Girls,
the lab.
You know, the lab, yeah, and they're like, look, I can extract the stone from Vision and he will still be Vision. It'll be okay. And I like the little banter back. This is where you realize just how smart she is, because Bruce Banner is a fucking genius.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Stark is a fucking genius. And there was that line between Banner and the girl. He was like, how did you do this? He was like, well, how come you didn't do this? And he was like, oh, well, I didn't think to do that.
Yeah, we didn't think about it.
Yeah. Again, it's one thing that it's establishing two things again. Mm-hmm. It's further establishing just how smart she is. She is considerably more intelligent than Bruce fucking Banner and possibly Tony Stark. But also it's a reminder and further cementing in that Wakanda is a highly super advanced place. They are dealing with all kind of biological, mechanical, industrial, all these things that the rest of the world is not. So even at Bruce Banner's intelligence level, he's dealt with a lot of shit. He hasn't even seen the shit that she's been fucking with on a microscopic biological level, you know, so the fact that she knew she could extract the stone and keep him the same, you could buy that she could do that. So that's happening. Aliens show up, big kerfuffle back and forth. And then down the line, I mean, there's some cool fights in here, no doubt. Some cool battle shit. The line. So fucking again, another character, another pull up a character from out of nowhere. Fucking Winter Soldier shows up, which that was hinted at the end of another movie, so you knew it was coming. But the fucking shit between him and Rocket, Rocket was like, how much you want for that arm? He's like, it's not for sale. Oh, I'm gonna get that arm. I love
so
it.
Good.
Love it, love it, love it. And Chris, I mean, feel free if there's something in between now and the end of the movie I'm forgetting.
I think the only thing left is the scene in the forest.
Yep. So Thanos finally shows up, and it's basically him hunting down Vision because Vision has the last stone, and you know what? I don't remember if I can't remember if Vision and Scarlet Witch also had a conversation like Gamora and Star-Lord, but I do remember the idea being that, look, if it I think they did, because I think Vision was like, look, if it comes down to it, you're going to have to destroy the stone.
I think he was trying to get her to do it before they knew there was alternative.
Yeah, I think earlier on he was trying to get her to do it. She was like, fuck no, I'm not doing that. He's like, you're the only one who can, so you have to. And Thanos shows up, and he's fucking wrecking shit and just having his way, and he's like, I'm going to get that stone. And he's like, no, you're not. And then he looks to fucking Wanda, and he's like, look, you got to do it. And again, another tension-building scene where it's there's emotional tension going on here. You know, she's having to kill someone that she loves, and another sacrifice, blah, blah, blah. And she finally gives in and goes to do it. And Thanos is like, yeah, no. See, I have the time stone now, so let me just rewind all this shit.
Yeah, so they have that dramatic fight, that dramatic sequence, you know, a very intense sequence of combat.
Yep.
Where they're just trying to hold him off.
Yep.
So she can destroy the stone. And it comes down to, with one hand she's holding him off, the other trying to do that. And I think that goes a long way to showing just how much power she has. I think that's something that wasn't really, it's kind of been shown and displayed, but not quite the extent of her power. But she's able to hold off Thanos even that long is fairly impressive at that point.
Another person that goes great to mention right there with the same thing, Captain America.
Oh yeah, I was going to mention him too.
When he just fucking lands, and he is that is a. I wish that needs to be a panned out scene, and that is a fucking wallpaper right there, because Captain fucking America is holding back the Mad Titan, who possesses 5 of the 6 Infinity Stones. He is, the look that they put on Thanos' face of, what the fuck? Because he should be able to just reach out with a finger and just touch Captain America's forehead, and he should disintegrate. He is holding him back. And the look on Thanos' face is like, this is unfucking believable. Who the fuck are you? You know, how can you do this? Which ties back a little bit to the Age of Ultron scene when Cap moves the fucking Thor hammer and Thor's like, ha, ha, ha. Wait, what? And I think it's around this point where did Thor show up now? No, I think that was after. That was after. So Thor rewinds time.
Thanos
undoes. God, man, I cannot get names right today. Thanos turns back time, rewinds all that shit, overpowers everybody, grabs Vision, and again in a fucking
he didn't rewind everything. He just rewinded her destroying the stone.
Yeah,
everything else is still in place.
Right. Grabs Vision and basically with 2 fucking fingers squishes his forehead in and pulls the stone out, and Vision goes completely fucking dark. Like, all the life is gone. And I was like, God, man, you guys quit fucking tugging at my hearts, please. He gets discarded like nothing. He's got all the stones. That's right. That's when Thor shows up.
Yeah.
Fucking Thor to save the day. A fucking axe comes flying out of nowhere, and it's flying down, and Thanos is like, I got this. Puts his gauntlet up and starts to stop it. It's not stopping. He's like, oh, fuck. And it hits him. And then Thor shows up. And they're fucking grappling. And he's almost got him. And he's got the axe embedded in him. He's got his axe embedded in him. Yeah. And Thanos is like, he's really in pain. He goes, you should have aimed for the head. And undoes all that shit. Yeah, and then he snaps his fingers. And chilling. Chilling how they did the next, 3 minutes. Because one by one, you start seeing random fucking people in the MCU. Before that, though, there was that scene on the other place before people start disappearing. Mm-hmm. So Thanos is all of a sudden in this plane. I won't say it's colorless because it was like a reddish tint to it, but it was this, what's going on? And there was a young Gamora, and I don't know if she asked or if it was another, I think it was she specifically asked him, what did it cost? He said everything. Yeah, he goes, everything. Yep. So good. So it starts showing one by one. Random people start disappearing. Mm-hmm. Random MCU people disintegrating. So, I should have taken notes. I should have made a list of this, but it had people that were vanishing that you weren't expecting. Like, example, the scene where Black Panther's guardian, I forget her name. Okoye? Yeah. No. Something like that. Where she was crawling away, and he was like, hey, come on now, no time to rest on the job, and he just fades. I was like, oh, fuck, really? Winter Soldier gone. Fucking Spider-Man. Yeah, that one's in a minute. The War Machine, I think, was gone. No, Sam was gone. I guess these aren't in order. Shows Doctor Strange. I think they are. Yeah, and that's the point where Doctor Strange makes his line. That's where about it being the only way. Tony, you got to believe me. This is the only way. Yeah, he goes away. Star-Lord. I had a brief dumb moment. I was like, wait a minute, he's one of the Celestial Sons. Oh wait, I forgot. Yeah, that was handled in another movie. My bad. I think Mantis was gone. Yep. Star-Lord, Groot, Drax, and Mantis all disintegrated. All of them. The only Guardian of the Galaxy left was Rocket. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All these people are leaving. Yeah. And then, again, to drive home, putting it through your fucking heart. In case you don't know, in case this blew over your head, if you thought that he looked older than he was, in this movie, Spider-Man is a fucking kid. He is a teenage boy. I think there was a scene earlier in the movie where I think there was a part where Spider-Man had snuck onto that ship with Tony, and Tony was like, "Look, you don't understand. If somebody else dies, that's fine, but if you die, it's on me. Yeah, like you are basically my responsibility to me, if not anybody else. If you die, that shit's on me." And then here we are at the end of the movie, fucking. You have to understand, they established early in the movie that his spider sense was a thing now. His spider sense worked. So when he snapped his fingers and all this shit was going off, he could feel it. That's why he was saying to Tony, like, I feel weird. Like, I feel odd. Like, something very wrong. He's like, nah, man, we'll be okay. And he's like, no, something is very wrong. That was his spider sense telling him, you're about to die. And he fucking dies in his arms as a human fucking child would. I don't want to die. Like, what's going on? I don't want this. I don't want to die. Yeah, without the mask on, too. Without the mask on, looking at Tony right in his eyes. And then he just fades, just disappears. Yeah, I think this is kind of where
the culmination of everything that's built up around Tony. You know, all the emotional stuff he's been through up to this point, you know, how he felt in the Spider-Man movie, how he felt during this movie, you know, through Civil War, and then both Spider-Man, who he feels directly responsible for because he is directly responsible for him, and then Doctor Strange both disappear before him, and he's still off on Titan at this point.
I need some help, Chris.
Yeah.
I need you to try to remember something.
Okay.
And this is good. I'm hoping you'll be able to help me out with this because you've seen most of these movies recently.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen all 3 of the Iron Man movies?
Yes.
Okay. If I remember correctly, in Iron Man 3, the reason why he was having all this traumatic shit going on in his head, was it because at this point in that movie he had already seen the visions? You know, the visions of seeing all the dead bodies and everything?
Yes, that was why, because he had that vision and everybody was dead, and it was because he didn't do enough.
I will give Iron Man 3 a little bit more credit than I did in the past, if that's true, because I did not buy nor care for nor like the whole, I'm having like PTSD as Iron Man. I was like, I don't, that's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's because I do remember there was a scene in one of the other MCU movies where it showed Tony seeing like the throne and seeing all these dead bodies of friends all around it. If that is the vision and other visions were piling up on him, that by Iron Man 3, that was where the emotional shit was coming from. Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And then you go all the way to Infinity War, and it's like, yeah, all the shit you saw, bro, was true.
Mm-hmm.
It was all true. Like half the people are dead. I mean, they don't know half, but they know enough people are just gone. Yeah,
and the before we get into kind of the next part, what I assume the hot topic is going to be, the credits rolling. I was like, all right, and I love this. You know it's a Marvel movie when the credits roll and almost nobody gets up.
Yep.
Everybody's just like, okay, credits are rolling, we'll wait for the thing. And, okay, I thought that there was just the scene in the middle of the credits.
Uh-huh.
But apparently there's been scenes in the middle and at the end.
Yeah.
Is that true for all of them?
Not for all of them, but a lot of the later ones. I think this is like, what, this is phase 4 or phase 3? I want to say the phase 3 had a lot of them.
Okay.
Over the past 3-4 years or so, you've had mid credits and end credits.
Okay. Because I think I've been missing the end credit ones. I don't know if there's anything I've really missed. But I have been watching the mid-credit ones. Mm-hmm. So when the credits rolled, it got to the mid-credit thing. It's like, all right, what's going to happen? And it was just the logo turning to dust.
Yep.
It's like,
yep.
It's like, come on, don't do that to me. Give me something.
Before we cap off the credits as well, I just wanted to point out that was this is important for this movie and for a lot of movies. So after he snaps his fingers, half the people die. All that shit happens. It shows Thanos on some planet, pretty much looks like a farm area, which that is a callback to a comic thing. You know, the in the comics, I think once he did all that, he basically retired and became a farmer. It shows Thanos sit down and just kind of smiles and has this like self-assured like, yeah, my job's done. Just look on his face.
Yeah, and that goes back to
straight to black.
Yeah, and that goes back earlier to his conversation he had with, I think, Gamora or someone. It's like, well, yeah, I want to be able to, and once it's all done, I'll be able to sit down and watch the sunset.
Yep, and that's exactly what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Also, before I make the other point about that scene, something I didn't talk about that was also like, oh my God, how can y'all make me feel this way about a movie like this? Whenever Gamora was on Thanos' ship, and Thanos was like, look, you're going to tell me this thing I want to know. And she brings him to that room and has, what is her name?
God, I just saw it not too long ago.
Nebula.
Yeah.
It shows Nebula fucking strung up and like spread out, and he's basically torturing her, which he's done this before. He's used to doing this shit to her, you know. But it's it's so good the way they built him up. But anyway, that the Thanos sitting down is important for two reasons. One, the movie just ended.
Yeah.
That's it, folks. the movie's done. Thanos set out to do this, and he did it, and that was it. So the bad guy won at the end of this movie. That's important. That's very rare in cinema. 2, that's very rare for superhero movies. Extremely rare. 3rd, this is a Disney film now, folks. The MCU is owned by Disney, and there is now a Disney movie out there where the bad guy won. Now, of course, which, we're going to get into it in a minute. There's going to be talk about what happens after blah.
Yeah.
We know. Everybody knows it's not going to stay this way. Me, I didn't care. That's not the first thing that came through my mind. It was, wow, they did it. Like, I cannot believe they ended it that way. What a way to end this movie. Holy shit. Bravo.
Yeah.
So good. And then, we roll to the mid-credits. Just shows the Avengers logo fading away. But before this is another little detail that I didn't realize till afterward. A nice little addition before the actual post credits, the post credit scene. Most of the movies, if there's a sequel behind it, it will say like Steve Rogers will return in Captain America: Winter Soldier, or Iron Man will return in Iron Man 2, whatever. This one, it said Thanos will return, not Avengers will return. Not the Avengers will return. Thanos will return. So I thought that was a nice, again, a little nail in the coffin of, the bad guy won, folks. This is the bad guys movie. And then we get to the post-credit scene. So did you didn't get to see this in theater?
No, I did. I did because
Okay.
I was so shocked that there was nothing up to the middle. I was like, okay, did they put it at the end?
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until I was home and reading about it that, there's, the middle and the post. I was like, great. Okay. But I did see it, yes.
Mm-hmm. So, we see fucking Nick Fury. Some shit's going down. Cars are being wrecked around all over the place. And then, I forget, what is her name? Agent Coulson?
No, that's Hill. Agent Hill.
Agent Hill. Yeah, Agent Hill's there. And they're like, we need to get some backup. We need to find out what the fuck's going on. Some shit's going on. And I think she disappears.
She does first, yeah.
And then he's like, what the fuck? And then he starts to he notices like, oh shit, goes to the back seat and grabs some fucking 19 or 2096 pager looking thing, presses the button, and he starts to disappear. And he goes, and disappears.
Yeah. And
then when the camera zooms in on it, and I tell you right now, when I saw that, the first thing that I thought was Nova Corps. I know that doesn't make sense because it's explained that Nova Corps got wiped out. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, the Nova Corps got wiped out. Thanos did that. That's another fucking powerhouse thing that Thanos did. But at first I thought that was a weird Nova Corps logo, and I was like, oh, he's calling the Nova Corps? What? And then it changed over again, and I was like, I think I know that logo. I think that's the Captain Marvel logo. And then, that's what it is. So apparently he's had this pager in his fucking SUV this whole time that shit really hits the fan. He's going to call it Captain Marvel. So we're going to get Captain Marvel introduced next year. I forget which comes out first. I know the next Avengers movie is in May of next year, and I don't remember when the Captain Marvel movie is.
I think it's after that then. I thought it was before it, but if that's the date, then...
So now we get to talk post-movie predictions. Shit
it's that. March.
Oh, it's March? Okay, well, we get it.
Yeah.
So we get a Captain Marvel movie, and then a couple months later, we get the second Infinity War movie. Cool. I just want to say that as well, Chris, right now. I just want you to think about that for a minute. We have less than a year now to pretty much a year, and then we get to see the next Infinity War. That's great.
I like this better when I had another movie to watch immediately after the last one.
Yeah. Welcome
I don't
to
like
club,
this.
But this is such a weird mental state that I'm in because my wife basically expressed the same thing. She's like, we have to wait a whole year, and I was like, we only have to wait a year. I mean, think about when Thanos was introduced, like the first time that he was on screen. I think that was the first Avengers when he turned his head and he was like, oh, Thanos. That was it feels like it was a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
We just saw Infinity War. We only have to wait a year for the next one. We only have to wait. So I'm happy about that.
And what I can't wait to see, and I want to go back to, is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
Because Nick Fury had kind of stepped back at this point in the series. You don't see him very often at all because he, stepped down. And he's doing his own thing with Agent Hill. But how, like I mentioned before that, actually I don't know if I mentioned it, but when I looked at the release of the Season 5 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes, they actually, the Infinity War is in the middle of like episodes 11 and 12 of the season or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So they actually, and they were released, those episodes, the week following Infinity War's release. So it was immediately, they kept going with the story, and I cannot wait to see what impact Infinity War had on the series.
Yeah. Something I wanted to bring up, which it doesn't matter, and I don't know how they're going to play it in, but so where was Adam in all this? Adam Warlock. I think it was the end of Guardians 2, where they had the post-credit scene where the big fucking tank was being built up, and it was like, yeah, it's the perfect thing. I think I'm going to call him Adam. And you're like,
oh, I didn't see that one.
They're bringing Adam Warlock in it. Man, there's nothing to do with any of that shit was in Infinity War, so who knows? I'm guessing that they're going to make... This is going to be a very tricky thing that, hey, I've said this before. I think you and I both have said this, and this is more so a thing now with Infinity War being out and have seen it. MCU has all the credit, man. They got all they can. Not that they can't do no wrong, but I have faith in anything they fucking do right now. I don't know how they do half the shit that they do, and I don't know how they're going to do certain things, but I got faith. I'm going to roll with it. Yeah. It's going to take like 5 shithole movies for me to back out of this shit by now. But I'm guessing that now they're going to make this. It's going to be interesting. They have such an interesting thing to do now, because if they're going to make Captain Marvel the foil for Thanos, how are they going to do it? Because he's already established as being the shit. Now, granted, he did use the glove, and then the glove kind of turned to shit. What I don't remember, Chris, were the stones broken? I thought the stones were still there.
The stones were still there? The glove was charred and twisted and stuff.
Yeah, the gauntlet was fucked, but the stones still exist, so there's that. But nobody in the MCU knows who or what the fuck Captain Marvel is. Is there a Captain Marvel TV show out yet?
No.
Is that out? It's not. Exactly.
The movie is the first introduction anyone gets.
So we're going to get introduced to this girl, and then a couple months later, she's going to come in and, I'm guessing, save the day.
So the movie is her past. That's actually based in like the 80s.
Yeah.
With a young, 2 eyes, Nick Fury.
Yeah. Old Nick 2 Eyes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they pull this off.
Yeah, and one thing I saw, a lot of speculation on is, if they had this pager the whole time, well, Battle of New York seemed like a good time to use it. So what are the conditions for him using it? I mean, obviously, people disintegrating is pretty bad. It is, makes sense, but why not earlier?
Exactly. There's got to be something that, like, there must be a certain criteria. Like, look, you can't call us unless this. What in that experience made him go, oh, fuck? And the only thing I can think of is maybe in the galactic sense, in the universal sense, Thanos was known about. Thanos is in the universe. Thanos is not an unknown thing, and his agenda, his MO of I'm going to kill half the things in the world instantaneously. I'm sure that there was some universal docket that Nick Fury had to read and was like, okay, so
break in case of Thanos.
Exactly. And they're like, well, here you go. You need to call this because this is like, don't call if fucking Scorpion shows up. Don't call for fucking Venom showing up. But if you start seeing some Thanos shit looking like it's going down, call this girl. She'll come and save the entire fucking universe. It's just gonna be it's gonna be interesting, and it's also gonna be interesting to see if they just totally disavow the whole Adam Warlock thing, because they specifically hinted at that. They called him by name, not Adam Warlock, but they definitely called him Warlock. I mean, Adam. That was a thing. So if they're not going with that, what are they doing with Adam? Are they going to do anything at all with it? There are a lot of things from the comic that we did not see in here. Again, death being a thing. His motivation to kill the entire half of the entire universe. When you think about it, I feel like it was actually done. I would think it was done more justice in this, as opposed to the comic. In the comic, he did it to appease Death. He did it to please Death, and Death was like, "Man, I'm bored by what you did. I wouldn't want somebody who kills half the population. Fuck you. You're whatever." In this, it's like, look, I'm doing it to create balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Thanos, that's stupid. I don't care. It's going to get the job done. Well, there's 17,000 other ways. This is the way I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
this is my logic. I'm rolling with it. Deal with it.
I liked how they showed, he was explaining his past on, Titan, how it was this beautiful, Eden planet, and they had that overpopulation problem. Yeah. And his suggestion was, controlled extermination of half, and that would cause it to stretch out, but they didn't listen to him. So that's why it is how it is.
And remember how he explained it too. He said random. He said he didn't say anything about, I picked a certain class or race or religion. He said, I want it random. As random as you can possibly fucking make it. That way it's fair and balanced. You see where they wrote him to be, again, wrong, yes. Mad, yes. But he had a relatable logic behind it. They made him relatable. And it made him so much better than so many villains you can ever think of. So yeah, the whole reasoning behind him killing half the universe's population was explained. Death was not involved in any of this, so his love interest was not his motivation. His personal, relatable interest was his motivation. There was no Mephisto there to be a thing in his ear to manipulate him in any way, and thereby also taking the gloves. Which again, that's kind of what I thought those guys were going to do in the beginning. I'm like, one of these fuckers, probably the telekinesis guy, he's going to turn. None of them did. They were like, no, we don't fuck with that guy. So you got a lot of feels from the comics put into this movie, but it was the MCU all around. This was their baby, their way of writing it, their way of handling it, and I love it. It was so worth the wait, and Thanos was done so good. One of many people's concerns, man, they have built this fucker up so long. What if they bomb it? And they did the opposite. They fucking blew it out of the water. It's awesome.
Yeah, that was one of the big things, big issues with Ultron was what was going on with him? It was just this, basically machine gone rampant.
Yeah.
Not really a whole lot there, but with Thanos, you get this person, these feelings, these thoughts, these motives, this everything.
He totally could have done something like off the rails. Again, the perfect opportunity for them to make or break that character was the death of Gamora scene. If Gamora was there and Red Skull was like, hey man, look, you got to kill something. You got to sacrifice something you really love. And Thanos just went, oh yeah, duh, I've got it. And just grabbed her and just chucked her with a blasé, shoulder shrugging, whatever attitude. That would have been like, okay, so he's just a bad guy. Okay, yeah. He is just a villain. He is just a maniacal whatever. But with him having the emotion there and the tears and the not wanting to but dragging her to the pit, that all of that played in to go, they've got it. They got it. They did. This is the way it's supposed to be done.
Oh, yeah.
My predictions, man, I tell you, I'm still kind of sticking with one of my earlier predictions. I forget what predictions I made for this movie. I think they all came out to be wrong. But I do remember one that I held for a long time, and I don't remember if I did voice it on this episode, great. If not, I'll say it again now, is that my prediction was in the movie itself. In the movie, Thanos was going to get all the gems, or I keep saying gems, it's stones, I know it's stones. He was going to get all the stones, snap his finger, half the population was going to be gone. Somebody on that side, Tony, Cap, Black Panther, who knows? Somebody was gonna travel to him in space or something. Maybe the Guardians were gonna take him into space. They were gonna sneak aboard his ship. They were gonna grab his fucking gauntlet in his sleep or something, and they were gonna reverse everything. And then that would be the setup for the next movie. That would be a big epic battle. And I still think that's gonna happen, but that's not the way they did it. They said no. At the end of this movie, Thanos got what he wanted. Yeah. Bam, bad guy won, deal with it. So I still think in the next movie, I gotta say, man, they can really do whatever the fuck they want. I have not gone meta as far as like looking at all these actors' contracts and seeing what movies they're starring in. Like we said this last episode, Chris. There's so many ways that people have spoiled this shit for themselves, and I have not done this. I have no inclination to do it, but. If either one, the MCU for whatever reason didn't want any of these actors that died on the movies anymore, or the actors themselves said, yeah, I'm done, this has given a lot of key important people ways to go, yeah, you're not coming back.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation for some of the characters that we're going to see that transition into someone taking their spot. Yeah. You know, the next Spider-Man, he's not going to come back. It's going to be another kid, is going to take up the mantle, or Black Panther, who's going to take up the role of Black Panther,
And and also people are discussing, okay, well, if somehow this shit does get reversed and there's a rewind played, is it also going to affect the people that died before he snapped his finger? Loki, Heimdall, these people that already died before that happened. Are they going to do it all? Like who knows? My prediction still stands. I think in this next movie, somebody is probably going to be Captain Marvel through some MacGuffin something. They're going to get this whole thing reversed, and hopefully everybody's going to be back. If not, perfect time for them to make new teams and start up a new, phase whatever of Avengers they're going to go into. Or phase whatever the MCU they're going to go to.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
So,
and we only have a year to wait.
Yeah. I was curious, and I'm not sure what your thoughts are on this, but Vision. Because they got part of the way through his thing. Was that enough? Is he actually dead? You know, he lost his color, but is he actually dead?
That is true.
Or is there enough of him left in there?
I mean, there was a part in that scene where, like, they were breaking into that room, and she was still going. She was still doing it. Now, I'd have to go see it again to see if there was, like, some movie/video game meter to be like, you're 96% there, you're 97% there. I don't know.
I think it would have been the number of threads still connected to the little display she was doing. She was gradually breaking them off as she was doing her thing. However, how many of those are left, and is that enough? Is that magical threshold that she hold out just long enough? Yeah.
And let's say that there are, again, pulling out random fucking number from my ass. Let's say there are 14 billion connections that have to be pulled off. If she got all of them down to like maybe 40, I mean, is that really saying that those 40 are severely, ultimately going to disconnect him from life? Are there enough to where he comes back? Maybe he's a little off. Maybe he has, like, amnesia. Maybe his left arm doesn't work. Who knows? We know, per the movie, that he crushed his fucking head in and the life left his body. Yes, true. Yeah. But does that really mean he's dead?
He's also a construct. He's not an actual human being.
Was Thor still alive at the end of this, Chris?
Yes.
Yes, he was. And who helped bring him to life? Oh, yeah, it was Thor. Hey, just saying. There's possibilities.
Yeah, so real quick, I'll run through who's still alive. Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Black Widow, Hulk, War Machine, Rocket and Nebula, Okoye, that was the Guardian you're talking about, and M'Baku.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it that we saw.
Yeah.
Technically they didn't include in the same list, but the sister is unknown. And we don't know what's going on with the Avengers that weren't in the movie. Hawkeye, Ant-Man. There was mention of Valkyrie from Ragnarok.
Yeah.
What happened to her on the ship, because this says she wasn't one of the bodies. The fact that someone went through and actually looked specifically for her. That's
awesome.
People are invested.
Yep. I would say the only thing that I would ever look up right now, from now to the time the movie comes out for spoiler-related nonsense, I would love to look up the duration of how long Infinity War 2 is going to be. I hope to God it's another 2 hour and 20-minute movie. I do. I hope it's fucking longer. Fuck you, world. I hope it's longer. Because, again, my wife and I saw this movie together, and I had such a great time during the entirety of this movie. When I walked out, I felt like, yeah, that was a long movie. But did you hear the inflection? It wasn't, oh my God, it was such a long movie. I was like, oh, it was such a long movie. There was so much stuff crammed in that movie. There was so much entertainment, so much MCU, so much comics. Yeah, had a good time. And loved it.
Speaking of duration, another aspect of that is how much time actually passed in the world between the movie start and the movie's end. Yeah. How long did that actually take? Because that was pretty quick.
Actually, good point.
Because a lot of the scenes were happening at the same time. Yeah. Like when everybody starts disappearing, Tony, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange are still on Titan. That had just happened.
Yep.
So how long did it take that ship to travel, and then their stuff to happen?
Such a good movie, Chris. Such a good ride all the way up till now, and I can't wait for the ride to keep going. Can't wait to see what else they got coming. Can't wait for the next phases of the MCU. I can't wait until X-Men are finally brought back and all these Marvel properties are brought into. I can't wait to see how the MCU does all this stuff justice. But as of right now, I'm not in some like halfway lull period. We just got Infinity War, and it was everything I wanted it to be. I was thoroughly entertained. Loved the movie. Great time, joyride all the way through. Can't wait till the next year for the next movie. I love where I am with the MCU right now, most definitely. What about you, guys and gals? Now that you've heard us like lose wind over this movie so many times, have you been following the MCU up to this point? Did you see the Infinity War? When did you see it? Did you have anything spoiled? What are your thoughts of anything in the movie? What question do you have? What things are you looking for? Were you satisfied by what you got? Did you want more? Were there things you didn't get you wanted? Anything you want to talk about the MCU, but definitely the Infinity War movie itself, please let us know. We'd love to hear feedback about this movie. Many ways you can send us that feedback. You can search for us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. Just search for End of Time Cast. That's probably how you found this episode right here, and thereby found this entire podcast. You can send us an email at endoftimecast@gmail.com. That's endoftimecast@gmail.com. No funny numbers in there. Just spell it as you heard it. We have a Twitter page. You can twit some NCU stuff at us. We will take any feedback you'd love to give us. Anything that we talked about in this episode, another episode, anything you want to talk about. We like feedback. I think that's going to do it for tonight's episode, folks. So until next time, I'm Michael.
I'm Chris.
Good night, everybody.